welcome to The Real Study with your hosts, MrSniDBitS.
I was pleasantly surprised. It was funny. It was fun. It kept the spirit alive.
BlackGirlMarvel.
I cried laughing. That was hilarious.
Tylermakesfilms.
It's meant for us to kind of contemplate.
Allthemoviethings.
Why I enjoyed it more too was the fact that we were going to talk about it from this perspective.
Lieutenant Commander Ray.
And this absolutely qualifies on that list.
And me, the Real Study movie voice guy.
I probably would have been in love with this movie as well.
Let's go to the poster wall.
And good evening. My name is MrSniDBitS, and with me tonight, as always, is BlackGirlMarvel, All the Movie Things, Tylermakesfilms, and Lieutenant Commander Ray. Another full house for an all Marvel night. We're going to be, of course, going through Captain Marvel and The Marvels, both starring Brie Larson and Sam Jackson, and then, of course, The Marvels brings on new characters. We are going to move over to the big main screen, where we are going to discuss any news. I know we've had more awards that have happened. I know SAG awards went on, but I don't think we had anything new occur. It was very much a lot of the same awards going to the same people. Would you guys agree with that?
Seems that way.
It does. Now, somebody was speculating
Oppenheimer's kind of sweeping a lot of things.
Right. Somebody was speculating ultimately that generally when SAG puts out an award, that's also kind of how the Oscars go, because the bodies are very similar. They have like a lot of the same people.
They're all
in
the
them.
same. Yeah.
So that it's almost not a shoe-in, but it's a pretty good signal.
Good indicator. Yeah.
So
yeah.
We'll see. But that means that we could have some interesting awards this year. It does. So.
Yeah. I will say there's a visual effects award ceremony recently, and the creator, which I'm very happy to hear, swept it. They won the most awards during the visual effects awards. And it was a mid-budget movie. It was $80 million budget. And they just
What?
I mean, it's pretty incredible. That's why I've been I tell everybody about that movie. Some people didn't like it. I loved it. I mean, also it's very interesting the camera that they used.
Yeah, what was it again? What was the big
was
thing
a
about
Sony FX3?
What?
It's basically the company I work for. We're looking at using that. We were looking at using that camera or buying that camera this year, and I found out Greg Fraser and there's the other. I'm forgetting the other DP's name right now, but it was two DPs. They used the Sony FX3 on this. It's a $4,000 camera.
Yeah,
and
it's more accessible to normal consumers.
Exactly. Yeah, you can buy it at B&H right now, for $4,000, and they used it on the creator.
That's
pretty amazing.
I love it.
And then they won all these visual effects awards on top of it, so it's pretty incredible. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Did that movie perform in the box office though? I heard
it didn't.
It was all right.
Yeah, it didn't really. Not sure why.
Can we talk about that actually? Because there's this constant separation in Hollywood where if a movie's more artistic and visionary,
right,
and it can break even or go below, and everybody's hailing this, oh, what a wonderful film. But if you're making the same amount of money, but you're some other kind, you're an action film or even then people are like,
if it doesn't make $1 billion.
Now it's literally those are movies are now just they're just money markers. I don't know. For me, that's weird because there's still people putting their heart and soul into these movies, and I see it, and it frustrates me because I'm like, this is. We're gonna get into that tonight, I think, because the Marvels has been destroyed.
I just feel like they keep pushing John David Washington, and I want him to get a win.
I know.
Tenet was kind of rocky when it came out. They're trying to release it now, I think.
I liked Tenet. I don't
know
why I got
what is the name of the movie that you're talking about?
Tenet.
The creator.
The creator.
Okay.
Yeah. John David Washington's the lead in that, and he was great in that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
great in everything.
Story-wise, it's not breaking any barriers because it's kind of a similar thing of themes of what it really means to be human, and it's dealing with some AI stuff, but it's just the scale of the movie is crazy, and it's and then the budget they had, and it was something that Gareth Edwards has been wanting to do. So, I mean, yeah, all the pieces are there.
Are there a bunch of cyborgs in the film? I've stayed mostly away from it.
So it's like, I don't know if I'd call them. I guess they're like cyborgs, but the thing is, like, mostly it's like it deals with this AI, and they like basically. It's hard to explain, kind of,
but the look of them, like, can you tell they're like half human, half robot?
Because there's different levels. Because some are just like completely all robotic, humanoid robots.
I saw a special on the VFX for this.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there's like one about the like motion tracking.
Yeah, but it's also like how they basically they had ILM working on it, and they were like, "Hey, can you guys just make everybody robots whenever we feel like it? I don't want to put dots on people. Let's just do this." And they said yes, weirdly, because that's not normally how they do things. But,
right. So some are like full on robots, you know, and it's on both sides too. Like there are some like robotic humanoids that are on like the army side or the military side of things. And it's just, the scale of it's really great. I mean, there's it almost feels like there's some hints to like Vietnam era kind of military stylings. Like a lot of it is set in like this new Asia, they call it. So a lot of it takes place in there, and the whole thing is about this weapon that they're afraid of, you know, but it turns out this weapon is a child essentially.
Nice.
And so
one of the things they talked about in the VFX is how they kind of left the neck skin for a lot of people to give them a more human feel rather than take it away. Because if you look at like Battle Angel is a good example where they have just a face that you're just like, that doesn't look right, that looks weird. And so they were trying to keep the feel of the human while still allowing them to be half robot. Unique,
well, they seem mostly human. The only part that we see that's like on those versions anyway, or like the back of their heads is really the only part that's like exposed kind of robotics, if you will. But and they talk about like the motion tracking being like one of the biggest like struggles, you know, but it's also like the way they did it was like kind of groundbreaking too, and like the funny thing they mentioned too was like on younger actors it was easier to motion track because the skin doesn't move around as much, so the skin's not loose is loose. So on older actors like Ken Watanabe, for instance, I imagine like his skin would be looser, so they actually had to recreate, almost like do like de-aging on part of his face just so they could get the motion tracking better. So to like add those parts of his head back. So
people with jowls are like VFX nightmare, basically.
Essentially. Yeah.
Interesting.
And the fact that they can like that it's that sensitive when it comes to their visual effects tracking that it messes it up is like amazing.
That is amazing. I'm certain somebody's working on a way to get past things like that so we can keep breaking the barriers. Any other movies you guys watched this week? I've watched some old movies I've seen before this week, but nothing overly new other than for the show.
I watched Crazy Rich Asians for the first time.
How was
I know
that
came from a billion years ago, but it was way better than I wasn't like putting it off because I didn't want to watch it. It was like on my watch list. Like there's 10,000 movies on there, and I was just like, okay, I'll finally watch it. And wow, I wasn't expecting it. It was really good.
I still haven't seen it, so I'm gonna double it. It's still on my watch list.
Put
a mark next to it now.
Well worth the watch. Okay.
I will make it on. Well, I have like 6 films that are like on my immediate list, so I'll put it on the next tier. We watched. I've been forcing the wife through the Fast and the Furious films, which has been a blast because she won't watch them. But I've been trading Grey's Anatomy, as I was telling you guys before, for other shows, and so I'm like, okay, we're gonna get you through Dom and his family and see how that goes. So that's
Grey's Anatomy is a good companion to Fast and Furious
in a weird way. You get your drama with the like, you know, real medical stuff, and then you get catching people with cars. You know, that's what I like to call the Fast and the Furious.
Can you check Law's camera?
Yeah.
For some reason, we can see her, but she isn't streaming.
That's really weird. Let me do this.
I think she keeps coming in and out. But...
And Did you want to tell us about Crazy Rich Asian, or did you just want to say you saw it?
I mean, I don't want to spoil it.
Okay.
It's kind of hard to talk about it and not spoil it.
Right.
I've always kind of loved Henry Golding. I think he's one of like a minimalist kind of actor, but he always gives a really powerful performance. Ronnie Chang is an absolute mess, but he's always so fun. The girl who plays the main actress, I didn't look up what her name was, but I don't think I've ever seen her before, but I was really emotionally connected to her the whole movie. The woman who played the grandma was also really hardcore. Yeah, it's like, I think because a lot of the actors, other than the girl who was in Eternals, what was her name? Who played Cersei?
Gemma Chan.
Yeah.
Gemma Chan, she was really great. Yeah, I mean, I think most of those actors do more foreign language work. They don't do as much in the American market, so it was kind of like, I should probably be watching some more foreign language films because they were all fantastic. They were all really good.
Yeah, we always talk about best actor.
I feel like we should do more K-dramas.
Best actor, more K-dramas. And I agree. There are some brilliant. Well, I mean, we should span the world. We really should just kind of start putting our fingers out for anything good and review it.
Even bad stuff. Bad stuff could be fun.
Bad stuff can be fun.
Have I seen anything? No.
Okay. That's a fair answer.
I wish.
How about you, Tyler? Anything this week?
I saw Drive Away Dolls yesterday.
How was that?
Nice.
It was. I posted about it on my TikTok. It was like, I think it had all the pieces of like a Coen's brother movie. There's just something like, everyone has said it already, that like there's something missing, right? Like the movie's like barely an hour and 20 minutes, but it felt like 2 hours. Like it was.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And I wanted it to do good. There's like queer representation and like it felt like fully. It has all the pieces to be fun, and it just kind of didn't really do it.
What was it called?
That sucks.
Drive Away Dolls.
Drive Away Dolls. Yeah.
And it's Coen
Yeah,
brother?
I kind of felt the same way. Well, it's Coen. It's Ethan Coen. It's not Coen brothers.
One of them,
A lot of people keep like saying Coen brothers, and it's like, no.
No.
They decided to go
just
their
the
own
one.
ways
It's
for a while.
one Coen and his wife. Like, yeah. So, yeah, and I would agree with Tyler that I saw it also on Thursday, and yeah, I was really excited for it. So I think partially like I had my expectations set really high. And it's got some wacky stuff in it. Like there's some like it's there's some stuff like they're definitely not taking themselves seriously. Like it's there's some fun stuff in it. But yeah, it just feels like like it needed something else. Like it felt like something was missing from it. But
did it also feel kind of like a COVID film for you? Like there was a lot of, I think I would say more than half that movie was just people in a car talking. But
no, I was totally I was thinking the same kind of thing. It's like, man, it's a lot of in the car stuff.
Just talking.
Like,
so you think they might have shot
locations
it like a couple of years ago, possibly, and then just now got to releasing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, anything
Which
is
that
still,
happens a lot.
Or whoever wrote it really liked having conversations in the car and wanted to put it in a movie.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, it was Ethan Coen and his wife that wrote it, so
Maybe they had a lot of car conversations.
They might.
I just wish like the car conversations were more engaging. Like I'm totally fine with that. They just weren't like engaging. It would
they weren't.
Just felt like it would drag on. It's just like
it's like, and like all the best stuff didn't happen in the cars.
Yeah.
Anyway, you know what I mean? Like so, but wanted more from it. But it is like a lot of great queer representation. I would even venture to say it's like the most lesbian movie ever. Like it's like, and they don't shy away from like a lot of like sexual stuff too, which was like, so it was.
Is this the movie with Kristen Stewart?
No, that's the A24 one. What is that one?
Yeah.
Oh, that's A24 one. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That one's,
Okay.
All right.
I'm interested in that one too. I wonder.
Yeah.
I've also heard a lot of people.
That's more of a drama.
Right. She's trying to head much more into the drama realm and stay there, I think.
This one has Margaret Qualley in it, which we've seen. She was actually had a really small part in Poor Things, and she was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
So she's like one of the leads in it. But yeah, and like the thing is too, like it's not for everybody, but a lot of people are like really loving it. You know, even Jay Stubes had some. I think Jay Stubes had a lot of similar things to say about it, like that Tyler and I thought. You know, really wanted to like it more than we did. Oh, Geraldine, I'm gonna mess up her last name, but the other lead actress.
Yeah, I kept trying to think of like what she was in. I haven't looked it up yet, but
yeah,
she's really good too.
And Beanie Feldstein is in it too. Coleman Domingo is in it actually too. He's got like a small part in it. So yeah, there's a lot of good folks in it, and yeah, I just needed. I don't know. It felt like it needed some more connective tissue, and some of the like, some of the payoffs weren't there enough, you know. So someone else mentioned too, like they wanted more of the cat and mouse element, you know, which I think that would have like really helped with it too. So there was definitely like another group of these two guys, you know, are after this case that they that they unknowingly are taking to Tallahassee, you know, that so there's this whole like mistaken identity kind of element to it. This kind of cat and mouse thing. But
so is it supposed to be a comedy or
it's a full-on comedy.
Okay.
And there's a lot, and like Tyler mentioned, there's a lot of like Coen elements, you know, like it almost felt like there was like things from The Big Lebowski in there, and like things from other Coen brothers films, you know, that
does it.
So it's funny. So what
does it go to like Hudsucker Proxy level, like that weird? Because that movie just gets whimsical and odd. So
right, I think they kind of lean towards some of that in certain parts.
Okay,
you know, there was like these kind of like psychedelic transition moments, like that they had, like So, but so it's been interesting too after watching both this and then the Tragedy of Macbeth, which are like each of the Coen brothers like separate films. It's interesting to see like from past Coen brothers movies, like who's bringing what film. So that's kind of interesting to see like their two sides.
That you're thinking like the thing that's missing is the other brother. Like even though they want to work separately, they work better creating a product as a team. Which I get, but like sometimes like if you work better together, then you should probably just work together.
And I think that that's how.
But they've worked together 35 years, 30 years. Like they've worked together a long time. Like when did oh god, I know the name of that.
The thing is, they're getting back together too now. So.
Yeah, that's right.
So
I don't know. Other than that, I didn't see any big news this week. Really at all. It's been kind of just awards and movie releases. Oh no, I did hear everybody's hating The Last Airbender. Like I've heard a lot of people.
I've heard mixed reviews. I've heard some people are absolutely loving it.
Yeah.
But sometimes you get people who are lore fanatics who are just like, it has to be exactly what they know, otherwise they don't like it. And I think that's what I've seen are the people that are not liking it because it isn't what they wanted. And it's like, it's not going to be what you wanted. So
exactly.
Yeah. I think a lot of people wanted a shot for shot of the animated series. And as cool as that would be, because there's some amazing shots, I feel like as long as the heart is there. But the biggest issues for me that I've been hearing, I haven't watched it yet. I plan on watching it hopefully sometime not this weekend, but next weekend. But some of the biggest things people have been talking about is how they've treated Katara. They kind of like switched her character up a little bit. And I know a lot of people, including myself, were a little angry that they were going to take away the misogynistic qualities of Sokka, because that's the whole point of his character, is that he starts off misogynistic, and then figures out through a young woman, that like maybe I should be a little bit better, and that's his whole character arc for a nice chunk of the first season. So
you don't want to take
removing that removes a big piece of his character. And then they said that Aang, I think something about Aang not running away from his responsibility, but how does he escape the 100-year war if he didn't run away from his responsibility? Right. It's just a couple of things. He starts off not wanting to be the Avatar and then realizing why he should be. Like again, he's part of his arc. And
it'd be like
I
Luke
think that
just
happened when the
taking his
creators
fate
kind of
and
dropped out.
running for it. Like, what? No, don't do that. That's terrible.
Yeah. I'm excited to see it though, because I love this series so much. So I'm excited just to see the fun parts of it. That's all. I just want to see the fun parts of it. I'm not going to try to overanalyze it like I probably could do.
Man.
But I'm just going to be excited to see it done with maybe a budget that M. Night should have had, even though he probably had double. But
he should have had less control.
That's the only Last Airbender thing that I've ever seen. I've not watched the animated show. Although, I mean, I know like my opinion of it is not based on that because that movie was not good. My brother, he watched the animated show and he is planning to watch the live action show. So I'll be interested to hear what he says. But yeah, I feel like The Division.
Put him up on a real study.
He would love that. The Division I've seen, is between really a kind of transition and storytelling and using it as more of a basis and not
the end all be all.
Right.
Yeah. There's a lot of people. I've been going through those conversations with Marvel people, especially with the Marvels, and we'll get to that, but like just a lot of people talk about Marvel like see, Secret Wars was done like this and this was done like that, and I was like, this is inspired by the comics. It's not the comics. Go 100%. Read the comics.
Yeah, the whole
you want the comics, read the comics.
It's like
it's not, they don't even call it the same universe that the comics calls it, so it's like one of those things where it's like
exactly.
Don't you think that kind of makes sense?
They allude to, if you want,
the scheme of things,
go through the wormhole and read 616 if that's what you want to do. Like, please do. Like,
right.
That's the whole point. Don't go to the paint universe.
We're also going to make
talked about that.
The things we want to make. But yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I'm excited for Avatar just because it looks exponentially better than the film. So I'm excited just for that aspect. And I will say, Ray and Snitty, I think you both would highly enjoy the TV series.
No, I do plan to watch it at some point.
I know you do.
I just that a lot of times.
Snitty is like
committed.
On the fence because he has children and they watch cartoons.
No, it's not even about that. It's
he's
a
over
TV
cartoons.
show and it's long and it's a lot of commitment. A movie is 2 hours and I'm done. It's over. It's
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, I think you would highly enjoy it. But to reiterate my point, I think you would highly enjoy it because it starts off for kids, but then it just becomes for people, and that's how I kind of see it.
Yeah.
Right. It's like you bring the kids in. It's very philosophical. It's very smart. It's very entertaining. It's a beautiful world that they built, and I think we all here love like world building and character development and just good storytelling, good characters. I highly recommend it. I'll keep saying it until you guys watch it.
Yeah.
So. But I'll say it with
You're
love.
like
I won't say it
disrespectfully. Person to try to get me to watch this show. So this has been a long road to haul. If you can get me to watch it, my brother-in-law's going to be happy. You something. Some of my old coworkers are going to be happy.
Tell you something.
Yeah.
Should tell you something.
No, and I know.
I'll take one for the family. I'll do it. It's fine.
Weird. There are shows that like I watch when it's time. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like I will get to it, but it'll be that day, that one day where I'm like, today's Last Airbender day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can't wait until that day. I think I might cry when that happens. But I will say, I want to comment on what Janine talked about. I will say this, because I haven't watched the show, I can't do my thirst. Mind you, I have been writing up some thirst episodes for the real study. So just you wait. Thirsty Thursdays are coming soon. Just you wait. But Daniel, when they cast Daniel Day-Kim as Ozai, I really wish they would have never told us. I really wish they would have never told us, because in the animated series you don't see him until like maybe the second book, second season or something like that. You don't see him for a long time.
Oh wow.
And it just adds to his like menacing and his mysteriousness and things like that. Because I don't know who I'm a ride with, because Daniel Day-Kim, I mean, let's burn the earth, okay? Because he's a handsome man. That's a handsome man. If you want to burn the earth, let's burn the earth. I kind of wish they would have just kept that secret.
Every time someone told me that about me. Yeah.
Has everybody seen Interstellar?
Villainous characters, and this character that he's playing is a villain in the show.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Have you guys all seen Interstellar?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Well, there's a cameo in Interstellar that's very famous.
I think Ray will tear up on that story. I really.
I think you'd like it. But there's a
Yes.
cameo from a very famous actor in the movie that
Yeah.
if they had revealed it before the movie came out, I would have been furious. And
Oh,
yet
yeah,
lately,
totally.
they've been doing that.
No,
They've
for
been
sure.
telling people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
You
I
don't need
really
to do
hate that. I really hate
Yeah, because
that.
that was such a
Daniel Day Kim
surprise.
should have been a
You're
secret.
like, whoa. He's like, "Oh,
No,
you
for
see
sure.
this?"
No, it
Yeah.
wasn't, but it was.
That's
Yeah, it
great.
was in that one. The other thing.
It was to me.
Oh.
I was like, whoa, okay.
Go ahead.
No,
Sorry,
that was
no,
me.
I was
That was me
saying
for
most
sure, Brian.
recently the reveal of Pyro in the trailer. Actually, I was heartbroken
Right.
because I liked Pyro as a character, and like the fact that we really didn't get to see him much. Yeah, I thought he could have been a bigger character. So bringing him back like that, but then putting it in the trailer was like,
Right. It's
They
so
kinda ruined
unnecessary too. Like,
Right.
why?
like it doesn't serve the
Yeah.
trailer.
I would have been in the theater, and look, I apologize
Right,
to everyone
exactly.
in every theater that I'm in. I'm a loud watcher, and I'm sorry for that. Okay, I'd have been in there screaming. Okay,
Yeah.
I would have been so excited to see him because it would be so unexpected
Yeah.
to see him after so long.
I know.
Like, y'all don't keep secrets no
Yeah.
more. Like,
I did.
No, that's what I miss about stuff. They don't keep secrets anymore. They used to keep secrets.
Yeah.
In in
They used to
movies
pay
and stuff.
to
And it was
keep those
fun because the
secrets.
reveal was like crazy and oh my gosh, and now it's just like, oh, Daniel Day Kim plays. Oh, okay. All
Yeah,
right, that's
no,
cool.
They're scared. That's why they're scared.
yeah.
No, they want to
don't
make
know if
sure
they're
the
gonna get people
marketing is
seats.
hitting, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they
get
don't
the big
have
name out.
confidence. A lot of times they don't have confidence in the project to begin
could
with.
also-
So
I
they're
respect
like,
that. Yeah,
"Whoa."
you're right, Brian.
It could also
I mean,
be a legal thing. And something I heard on a video about posters and why we get all these big head posters is because all the actors have legal obligations in their contract to say they need to be on the poster. Once you have 12 people, how do you make a compelling poster with 12 people, but they're all legally supposed to be on
Yeah,
there?
well, and also like what order billing are they too? And that's why you get like
The bigger
Yeah.
credits, right?
oh, this name is higher or on the left, which is like the most
Right.
senior
Yep.
position. And then you get like people that are like staggered. And that's
'Cause
why
I
too,
can't
like
wait
you'll
to
see
be a and or
yeah,
with.
exactly. Or you'll see an image of like two actors, right? But then the names are flipped.
Like,
and
hey,
they're not
Flipped,
above their
yep.
head. Like, yeah. But
Yep.
because the billing is
Right.
different, you know,
Yeah.
so
I'm like, didn't
Yeah.
they
But I
know the
also feel
billing
like-
when
I
they
also
shot
feel
the
like-
shot? Like, couldn't they have?
right, I know. You knew that going in
But
there.
also,
like,
I feel like if you told actors like, because they build up these contracts, and I understand that actors have like their thing, like they
Yeah.
have like this is what I need, this is kind of like
Yeah.
their riser in a sense and things like that. So I understand that, but also I feel like if they are attached to the project and they like it just as much as you do, if you talk to them like, listen, we're gonna have you on some of the promotional stuff, but we want to keep your character quiet because
exactly.
it correlates with how the show goes with your character. I think they would be okay with that. Like I don't.
Right.
Daniel Day Kim for one, I think he would be like, sure, oh yeah, let's.
Totally.
Because
Right.
think about the trailer coming out and nobody seeing Ozai, everybody would be like, well, where's Ozai? Why?
Yeah.
That would just make more hype for the show. That's like
No,
marketing
totally.
within
Put
itself.
them
Yeah,
on
word of
as
mouth would be about that
producers
and-
Right.
and keep their name out of acting, and just they're producing the film, and boom,
It would be
that
great.
keeps
It
them,
would be great.
You know, I
Yeah.
don't know.
This might be a thing, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like fans have also ruined it in a certain way too, where they're just
Yeah,
like
I think
they're
that's
just
it.
so loud
Yeah, I
that
think
like
there's
the
something
studios
to
are like,
that,
"Oh,
too.
you like this, right? You wanted this. Here it is."
Fans
yeah.
are the worst.
Yeah.
Like-
No, there's like this fan service thing is definitely a thing, I think. Also, yeah. I agree.
It's very different here than in Japan, but still a thing without a doubt.
Mhm. Yeah.
I love what Janine just said. Hoping that Blake Lively makes a Lady Deadpool appearance would be kind of interesting and fun.
That'd be that'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
That'd be
actually
pretty
just love
awesome.
that. I would just like
Yeah,
really, really
that
love
would
that.
be-
But if she's in it, then
She's not
Taylor
like my
Swift
favorite
has to
actress,
be in it
but-
somewhere like
Right.
like
No, she doesn't.
She does. She
I know
does.
she does it. Yeah, I'm
No,
with
she
you,
doesn't.
Law.
No.
No, she
No.
doesn't.
She doesn't.
They can put her in anything. It's okay. Just put her in anything.
No, we're good.
we're-
Put her in her
All
music
right.
videos. That's where she needs to
There
be. In
you
her
go.
music videos.
She was good in Amsterdam for the 10 seconds that she was in.
Yeah.
With that
Sorry,
said,
Yeah.
we do have
I
a couple
prefer her as a
movies.
singer. That's all I'm saying.
Well, yeah,
That's
yeah.
all I'm saying.
Plenty of actors have come from the singing realm, though. So let's see here.
And a lot of them are terrible. But
A
continue.
lot of them are
Continue.
Mark Wahlberg. I know you're not wrong.
Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So
Wow.
wow. Yeah, that's me.
Shots to the Funky
I will
Bunch.
never
Crazy.
let that go.
What happened to the Funky Bunch?
Uh,
Yeah.
They funked
They're
up.
Mark
probably
was left
still just the
behind.
Funky
Yeah,
Bunch
yeah.
without a Marky Mark, just doing their thing.
Yeah, they funked up. I don't know.
They funked
If I was
up.
them, I
bunch.
would come back together as the Funky Bunch, and then just be like, it'll be like ... and the Funky Bunch, and they just get like lookalikes of Mark Wahlberg to like be the lead.
Right.
I would do
But
that.
not good
I'll
ones,
do that.
right? Like kind of
Ryan Reynolds.
bad.
No. Like
Kinda
kind of
bad.
like Bizarro World versions of Mark Wahlberg,
Yeah.
like skewed,
Like
like
the
little
like
skewed
the
versions of him.
Muppets versus the
Mark
Muppets,
Markey.
right? The Muppets.
Yes.
Yeah. We have 2 movies to review, and I know I have a lot to say about
that's right.
these movies. So
Yeah.
That's
we
right.
we will move into Captain Marvel. Now, I'm almost certain everybody on this panel has seen Captain Marvel more than once. So there's really no order in which
I don't think Law has though. Just judging by her
by her
attire.
shirt. I think the shirt says
Yeah.
that she
Not
hasn't
at all.
seen it. Yeah.
This is my first watch
time,
of Captain
yep.
Marvel. It's my first time.
I'm surprised you
watching.
didn't switch the Star Wars poster for a Marvel poster, so it was like all thematic.
I don't have one.
Oh.
I mean, I take that back. I have one, but it's nicely in plastic, and I want to have it framed and matted and things.
Understand
And
that.
this is already like framed and kind of
Oh, there you go.
stuck to the wall.
Yeah.
So
all right.
but just
Well,
you wait.
Lost
When I
I
get
was
home
gonna
late.
say,
Since
it
you
was
are-
it's NFSW, so I can't show it.
You know,
Is what I thought. Yeah, you got a dirty Marvel poster.
Shoot. Who would be on it though?
What?
I mean,
it can be a lot. You never know. It could
Yeah,
be like
you
Loki and Loki.
Oh,
It could be a lot.
Okay.
You never know.
Oh,
Now, when you say Loki and Loki, do you mean like Loki and Loki, or like Loki and Sylvie? Like, what do you?
I said Loki and Loki.
Okay.
Sylvie
Yeah.
don't call herself Loki.
She doesn't,
Calls herself
but
Sylvie.
I still
True.
know her as a Loki. So,
I know her as how she wants to be called. No,
that's
I'm
fair.
kidding.
That's fair.
No.
La, let's go to you since you are rocking the Captain Marvel shirt. What did you think of this approach this time on Captain Marvel?
I've always liked Captain Marvel. I've always liked this film. I will say it's a film that gets better as you watch it. I mean, every time you watch it, as opposed to like watching it the first time. And I think that was done intentionally because I feel like we're thrown into Carol's POV and her POV is disjointed, right?
Mhm.
So it makes sense why when we watch it, we're like, well, she's like this, and why isn't she like this? And because we're thrown into her haze of a brain, right? I feel like we're connecting the dots as she connects the dots, and no Marvel fan likes to watch anything without knowing everything first and then acting surprised. So to watch a movie where you're like, oh, what comes next? I don't know.
Mhm.
Everybody like lost their minds over
you
that,
wanna
and then the whole
anticipate everything
controversy,
the whole time. Like,
right? And then the whole, Brie Larson, she don't like men, and well, white men in particular. It was a whole thing that overshadowed this film. I always enjoyed this film. I felt like she played every beat of her character. I will say between this and the Marvels, I would have liked a proper Captain Marvel too, if I'm being honest. Not to say that I didn't like the Marvels. I felt like the Marvels would have been a great third film where we could have got like a little more from Carol, just a little bit more. But I enjoyed this film. I thought it had funny moments. I thought it was very grounded. I like the fact that it takes place in the 90s. Because it just adds an aesthetic to it that, like, if you didn't grow up in the 90s, it probably like just went over your head. But as somebody that's like, I got my whole personality from the 90s, it just sat right with me. It was great seeing Coulson again. Even though I'm gonna need them to sew that thread up into the MCU, but it was great seeing like Fury being like a younger, not director, like just an agent kind of making his way. I just enjoyed everything. I enjoyed the flip with the Skrulls kind of being the good guys for a second. Whereas in the comics, that they're not always good. So it's like it was nice kind of having that.
Well, especially Talos. Talos
I don't know.
specifically is a bad guy in the comic.
No, yeah. Right. And I don't know. I enjoyed this film. I thought Brie played it great. I love that she played a very broken individual, but you could never really, you have to really look hard to see it. But you can tell she's broken in other ways, and it gets masked by her punching things and having anger. And I think that can, I can relate to that, being like angry sometimes when I don't know things or I feel like nobody's kind of listening. Because I felt like she talked a lot and nobody listened. I feel like she talked a lot and everybody was like, that's your emotions. Shut down your emotions. And as a woman, they kind of tell you that a little bit, to be like, why are you crying? Toughen up. and they literally had a chick that did all that, and she was still a problem in the world. So I just, but I enjoyed this film. Somebody else got.
All right, let's go to Tyler.
Yeah, I mean, everything that you were kind of saying, like, I realized after watching it, every time I've rewatched this movie, it's gotten better. I was excited when the trailer dropped. Like, as soon as like the blockbuster came up, I was like, "Yep, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
We're here for a '90s adventure. Here we go." It's still, once we get to the Marvels, though, I will say like I enjoyed the Marvels more than I liked Captain Marvel, only because like I feel like Captain Marvel still, unfortunately, it was a film that like was to set up things rather than to just be like I think the movie's like bogged down by like trying to set up other things. Like it was weird seeing Ronan kind of in there. Like
yeah,
there's just certain things that like, okay, so they're setting up so she can come into like the Avengers or whatever and all that stuff. And I just felt like it would have been cool to have a more focus on Captain Marvel as like a character, although I think it did. It's just like when watching like the Marvels now, it was fun to like just kind of hang around them and like I'm not going to talk when we get to the Marvels. We'll get to the Marvels. I actually really enjoyed that one a lot more than I did this. Other than that, it was fun. Like there's a lot of good things in it.
If you're under the weather,
really
you're cloudy. We understand it.
I know. I'm like literally dying. But yeah, I mean everything that you said.
Aren't we all?
Like
he's got a virus putting him a little closer, I think. So he's
I'm rapidly going to it faster than everyone else.
Wow.
Currently.
Okay.
We're getting into some dark territory. All right.
I'm going right into the event horizon of what I know about this. Someone save me.
Wow. Why don't we move to Ray and say, Ray, what did you think of Captain Marvel?
So I think I've only seen this one other time. I think I saw it in the theater and I thought it was just okay. I kind of felt that setting up part, but I think that kind of took away from me being able to see it as its own individual movie, because I still do think it's a good standalone movie. Even though we don't get to know what happened before or after, which is fine. I mean, that's not always the point of every movie, for you to have a complete arc of a character, but for it to exist at a certain time in a character's life. And I think now, having watched it again, I can see that. And so I think I don't remember if I re-rated it on Letterboxd or not, but I enjoyed it so much more. And I think it was honestly a better movie than people gave it credit for. Because when we see her at the beginning, you can see that apprehension in her character. She's really under the thumb of Yanrog's, I think, his convincing her that she's less, but under the guise that she can be more, which is really insidious.
Really? Oh yes, for sure.
Dangling that character.
It keeps her right there. It just keeps her right there. Yeah.
Exactly. And so for that to come back at the end, once she's realized her worth and her power, and she's no longer under his or the supreme intelligence, that he tries to convince her again, and he realizes, oh crap, she is not.
Yeah. Still gaslighting her.
Jude Law is perfect in that moment.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
right? Yeah. Did you just see what I just did? Like, you think about it?
I punched through ships, my boy. Yeah, I'm not about to fisticuffs with you. What are we doing?
There's no reason I should have to dim my actual light to
no, for sure.
No, literally. What are you talking about?
Nailing it, Ray. I'm loving this.
Like her after she gets the device from Talos. And when she goes to with Fury and sees Monica and Maria, and to have a fan, like, she's been lost, she can't remember anything about her life, and the thing that was supposed to be torturing her really gave her back her life, because she was at least to get that glimpse when they were in the archives. And Monica was showing her all the pictures. It's like, these are the people that like
know you.
These are this is your family. And sometimes it's hard to put your own life back together without the people that you care about. And so I love that that was part of the movie, and that we get to see glimpses of that in the Marvels, that these people were so integral, and she'd never let them go again, or at least to the best of her ability. At least in her heart, she could carry them in her own journey to try and rebuild herself. And so when I love that we don't know what happens after until the Marvels. And when I was telling, I think I was talking to my brother about this, the kind of the trajectory of each of those characters, and I'll shut up until we get to the Marvels, but like for each of them to get their own project discussing and building their characters, from her movie, Captain Marvel, to Monica in WandaVision, and Kamala and Miss Marvel, and then them coming together, like really, like, and I'm a person who reads series, like I love an extended storytelling kind of plot distinction. So like the 4 projects together really is such a beautiful piece of work.
It was like a book series.
100%.
It was a book series, honestly.
And it's
I love that,
hard for people to have their own delayed gratification, like you were kind of saying. It's like people want everything at once. And in a universe like Marvel, in the cinematic field that they've created all of these different pieces, it's like a puzzle. And you can't look at one piece of the puzzle and get the whole picture, and you shouldn't expect to. That's not the point. I'm done.
No, you're good. Brian.
That was great. Yeah, there's a lot of that Ray said that, you know, I was thinking of as well. Like, this is probably the 3rd time I've seen it, and this time around I just like really loved it. Like I just really enjoyed it so much more than the first time. I think for me too, the first time I watched it, like I literally went back and rated it higher on Letterboxd, and saw that I gave it 3 stars for the first time that I watched it, and then this time I bumped it up a star because I was like, man, what was I thinking? Like, what was going on that I thought, you know, that it was crazy. I was like really enjoyed it. Just, and like seeing, I think also too, like there's like an element of like retrospection there, having some time away from it, and just appreciating it for what it is, you know. Like there are those like things of like, oh yeah, it's gotta like set this certain things up, you know. And I think that's like, I feel that's not a fault of the filmmakers themselves. I think if they were removed from the, you know, Disney of it all, they'd probably be able to like do something a little different, but they had to like fit it in this box, you know, to some extent. But yeah, like she's essentially in an abusive relationship, you know, with Jude Law's character, and there's like all those
with
classic
her
elements
kidnapper, even, right?
Yeah, exactly, right.
No, facts.
Yeah. I mean, taking advantage of that memory loss and everything, and
ooh, it's like Overboard, but in space.
right? Yeah.
That's literally what it is. Overboard with powers. That's hilarious.
But
I love that.
Yeah, and like really appreciating those moments of like seeing her slowly regain her power, you know, and not just her literal power, but the power is like representative
within
of
her,
the figurative power that she has.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like that last moment hits so much harder too when you're like, or you know, when she's like, I don't have to, like, you know, you have no control over me anymore, you know, in my mind or anything, and like, and just like boom, just hits with this one blast, just knocks his ass out. It's so like it's funny too now, you know. It's like, what do you think I'm gonna do? Like,
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, I'm so proud of you. Like, what?
I'm proud of you. That line always kills me whenever he says that.
I know. He's like,
because
still
it's such a dramatic. It's such a dramatic scene too. Like the tension, the music is like swelling, and then he just holsters his gun. I'm so proud of you. He was like, because he know he can't win, but he's trying to win by breaking her down, like he's been doing.
It's
funny.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah. And yeah, it was just like just really enjoyed it so much more this time around. So, yep.
Snitty.
So I loved this film when I saw it first, and my rating stayed the same. And I'm gonna defend the Ronin real quick, not to not liking him is fine as well, obviously. But for me, we saw Ronin, we saw him go against the entire world of the Guardians, and we saw him just barely lose. Like it was close. Like it was very, very close. So to then just put Captain Marvel right up against him and just fuck him up shows us just how powerful she is. So they really had to put a bar pretty high so that when she, again, this is technically set up, so when she shows up to fight against Thanos, we have the idea that she might be able to do this. But it was also just to show how nerfed her power was by her captor.
Oh yeah.
And it showed us exactly what she could do. I like that Janine just brought up Lee Pace. I absolutely love Lee Pace. I don't know if you guys ever watched *Halt and Catch Fire*, but he is brilliant in that. Obviously brilliant as Ronin. I liked that Ronin, he hadn't like gone rogue yet, so he didn't even have like the makeup that he normally wears. He's just a Kree.
It shows you a before he even touches the Guardians, like before. Right. I like that we've seen before.
You've got Digimon in there as well, so we're like seeing another connection to the space. Any connection to Marvel space in the MCU, and I'm excited because that's sci-fi nuts. So like that's not that Marvel isn't sci-fi. Even Iron Man is sci-fi, but it's way sci-fi. Like as soon as they're bringing in the Fantastic Four, I'm gonna eat that up so hard because it's all sci-fi.
It's good.
I know.
But the secondary cast, like you guys all talked about Brie Larson, I think she did an amazing job. I could talk about how people have taken her out of context completely, and that's why she's even considered.
That's a whole episode by itself.
Right. But I think the secondary cast is also bryant. I think the guy that plays Talos is so freaking amazing and funny.
Oh yeah, Ben Mendelsohn.
Right.
Yeah.
Seeing him in his
that's the thing too, like
real form before we see him as Tyler.
Right.
Yeah. Which was but when he shows up in his human form, you're like, oh, I kind of recognize him. I see him there. I don't know. There's a lot of I love movies where you have characters that can switch. It can create some great avenues. The whole just moment of Coulson, hey, Mr. Fury, I'm at the Blockbuster.
Where'd everybody go? Where'd everybody go? Like
a little nod to Kevin Smith with the Mallrats, script, which was great.
Which that was like a really great attention to detail because like if you see in Blockbuster when she lands, there's a True Lies standee that she like
she blows that off.
And then, but then there's the Mallrats thing. So I checked even. I'm like, I want to see how much attention to detail they had because when did True Lies come out compared to Mallrats? So
True Lies came out in 94, right?
What's that?
True Lies came out in 94
and
Mallrats was 95. So this takes place in 94.
Would have been around,
late 94.
Yeah, because True Lies was on video essentially by that time. So yeah.
Well, it's in the LA area so it could be any time of year. Like there's no it could literally be in the middle of winter and you'd never know. Well, not now. Now you'd know because it'd be raining.
Well, the fact that he's reading the Mallrats script kind of gives you a time.
Well, I guess it'd be earlier in 94 because they had to shoot it still before it was released.
Yeah, exactly.
So that makes sense.
Yeah.
And of course, this is the movie with the Stan
Plus,
Lee.
he only had a cameo, so it's possible that like it was kind of already kind of like done,
near the end,
and they could have shot it like near the end, and then it came out like months later because he only had like a cameo, which was a great cameo by the way.
Well, it was his first like Stan Lee kind of cameo. That's why I think they put it in there. But this was the one where you got to see the Stan Lee Marvel, credits.
Yeah.
Always makes me go.
But it was like a bookend. It was kind of a bookend because it was like his first kind of like thing, like cameo thing, and then this was like his last like filmed. Because it was like so it's kind of like a bookend to his thing. It's kind of awesome.
He hadn't done even like the X-Men at that point, so that's totally right. That would have literally been his first film as Stan Lee. I love it. But let's also talk about Sam Jackson. He can play two sides so well. He can play a very serious character. He can play a funny character. And Fury has both. And I love that he is he's just he's lighthearted. I love that he talks about his mom. I love that we find out about the way he cuts his sandwiches. I just little things that tell us
because that sets up him being a Skrull later on. Like that's pretty dope.
So there's all sorts of just fun extras that we never got for him. We find out about his eye, which I love that it's a flirkin.
Yeah.
I love the flirkin.
I love that it's very simple. I love that it's like a very like, I think everybody thought like he got his eye jammed out, his glass
People were
crushed,
so
and
angry about
I think
that. And I'm
people
why
like
are you
were just like
mad? Like,
really
Right.
trying to figure it out, and then when they found out that it was just like a quote unquote cat scratch, and I'm like, but no,
But
it was a flirkin.
He got attacked by a
Scratch.
flirkin.
Right.
That's a heavy
and
duty
that's
thing.
like
Those
how it's
nails-
just like,
those nails
that's
are
not just a
different.
scratch. You gonna lose that
Okay.
eye.
Right.
Yeah, you
And
don't
then
lose
you
that
see,
eye.
and then you see at the end where he has like the box of eyes or whatever,
Mhm.
and it's like, oh, that scratch cleared that cornea, like that knocked that
yeah,
boy
yeah.
right on out.
Gone.
Yeah.
Like, wow, like, yeah, it's just, those are like interesting things to see.
Mhm.
I still think they could have just had him have a degenerative eye. Like it just kind of
Right.
went away. And then the scars were from something completely different. They could have gone all sorts of different ways. I'm glad it was a flirkin. I'm glad it was an evil.
I love that it was a flirkin
Sweet.
because I love that, like,
I don't know. What are flirkins? We
it
still haven't
just,
figured
it
out.
adds to his mysteriousness because he'll never tell anybody.
He's not
that it
gonna
was
Well, I
a
love what he
flirkin,
told
or like a
Nicole.
cat. Like, you could never tell anybody.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
But
Well,
how many?
the amount of humor in this too was like really great. Like Talos is like so funny. Like
Mhm.
like he doesn't know what a cat is, but he's like afraid of, because he knows it's a
What's a
flirkin.
cat?
And it's
I love
like,
the
"What's
way
a
he
Yeah.
cat?"
Right.
Like,
Yeah, I love it.
so much fun.
No.
Yeah.
Or they
I
both
love
like
this-
look at the
I
junk.
love this
Like, what
scene.
was that? Like, why did they? Both
Yeah.
No, I
do
love
that?
the scene in Maria's house where like he shows up and then he just takes a
Mhm.
swig out of that cup.
Yeah.
So he puts
Your
it back down. It's
science
just like,
guy. I love all of that.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Yeah.
No,
It's
I-
great.
Like, you
I-
can
I
figure it out.
honestly,
Yeah,
Yes,
all
in
the
face,
the
sir.
actors was
Like,
honestly, all the actors were great. Like, what's his
Yeah.
name? Even like behind, like, like further removed people, like what's his name? Tom. They came to the door. They was just like, well, no, can I bring my
Yes.
boys
Oh,
over to
yeah,
see?
the,
Like, he was a
Louisiana
great
boys.
like moment of like levity to have
Yeah.
in this film. Like, I think everybody just did a great job. Just even with, you had like 2 lines. If you had
Mhm.
like the whole script, I feel like everybody did a really good job.
mhm.
Janine just mentioned Mr. Postman. That was a great moment hearing him do
Oh,
his little
nice.
his
Yeah.
little ditty.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I don't. I know why this movie got panned so hard. It's the same exact reason the Marvels got panned, and it's literally sexism. I mean, it's just
100%.
Flat out. sexism.
Mhm.
Nobody was willing
No,
to
I
just
had
give
a
it a minute
guy,
and watch it. You know,
or once we talk about the Marvels, it'll come into play.
Yeah.
But I had a guy
Right.
who I'm friends with on my Star Trek page. He posted the elevator scene, the elevator fight with Captain
Captain
America,
America.
Oh
and
yeah.
said that he missed that MCU. And I was like, first of all, I'm not going to stand for this slander.
Oh
because
yeah.
the
I saw
Marvels
that
Facts.
same
came out
one.
4 months
Yeah,
ago.
yeah.
Facts.
And the fight
Yeah.
scenes in the Marvels, what are you talking about? I
Oh
don't.
man. I
Top
know.
notch.
Like,
Top notch.
I mean, what a creative way to do it too, because like they had this issue of like, I mean, we'll talk about it. Yeah, sorry, but
Yeah,
no,
we'll
no,
talk
no,
about
no.
that.
This is a good
Yeah.
segue.
But no, but
Why don't
you're
we
right,
rate,
though. But
and
you're
why don't
right,
we
though.
let Ray take the lead and go with what she was saying?
there we go.
So let's quickly rate. What did you think of Captain Marvel?
Captain Marvel, I'll give it an 8.
Nice. How about you,
Solid
Tyler?
film. Give it an 8.
Yeah, I'm giving it an 8 too.
An 82? I'm sorry, that was terrible.
An
Yeah.
82. Yeah,
Come
actually.
on, Ty.
All right, 83. All right.
All right.
How about you, Ray?
Yeah, I think that I would give it definitely an 8, maybe an 8.5. I really loved it.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Brian?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it 8.5.
Nice. I'm gonna top it off with a 9. Put a little cherry on top there.
Oh,
Really
there you
like
Come
that.
go.
on, 9.
All right.
Love it, love it.
Come
I'm gonna change mine
on.
to
I will watch it
9.1.
again.
Thank you.
Even just
No,
the-
I'm
just
changing mine to
the-
9.7.
Yeah,
Okay.
9.7.
Do I hear
Solid.
977? No, okay. I'm just-
Right?
999. No, you know, it's like, it's not crazy. Infinity. The
All right.
Infinity
Right.
Stone.
So the next movie is, of course, the Marvels.
I knew Ty would love that Infinity Stone.
And this is, of course, this is a 2023 release. Oh, wait. Yeah, 2023 release. The last
Yep.
Marvel movie to hit theaters. Now available. If you haven't seen it, it's everywhere. We're going to go with Ray. What did you think of The Marvel?
I thought it was spectacular, and it is a full campaign. I accept it as my purpose from now on to convince people that this movie is a masterpiece. Like, it is
I'll join you
so
on your
Yeah.
trail.
good.
I'll join you.
because I think you see their characters meld really well, but not unlike how I felt about the last Thor movie, Love and Thunder, that each of the main characters have a different like genre feel to them. Like Carol, most of her scenes, unless she's with the other girls, is really more emotional, like more kind of serious. And Monica is she's kind of in that middle. She's like, she can be lighthearted when she's with Sam's character, Fury, but she's also still a dramatic kind of storyline. And and Kamala is just like, first of all, she is rainbows and butterflies. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like,
No,
her
totally.
She's
character is
everything this film needed, honestly.
everything. She's so perfect. She's fantastic. Yeah, the storyline of their entanglement, which the entanglement of their powers being really the I would say like the plot point piece, but that's the actual like the explanation of their emotional entanglement. When we see how kind of lost and Kamala has her high school friends in Miss Marvel, that she's just still kind of like she's still got this dream world of living the life that she's like, oh my god, I just want to live my dreams. I love Captain Marvel so much. And for her to actually be able to do that, you really see her open up in this and get to do more of the team up that she had hoped for. And I love the line in there that she said she didn't give her room to be a person. I had this conversation with my cousin yesterday. Like, sometimes when you think about the people in your life, we don't think of them separately from the relationship that they hold to us. And that is so important when you're thinking about someone's trajectory, who they are as a person. Sometimes you can't give them space to grow as a person if you're only thinking about what they do or who they are to you. And so when she realizes, she's like, yeah, I was being a fangirl right there. That's on me. Like, you had other life that you were doing, your other role to the scrolls that you had to hold. Like, that wasn't fair of me. So the fact that we see all of these characters really grow emotionally together and individually and then together as an action team to work, like the training sequence of them learning to be more in tandem as their powers were interconnected. I could continue, but it's fantastic.
All right, let's go with Brian. You had more to say based on what Ray had said, so let's go right to you.
So I do wish I didn't have enough time to like rewatch this, but I did watch it in theaters and everything, so it's still relatively in there. But yeah, I did have a blast with this, and
good pun.
Like, so many unexpected things. Like, I mean, come on, you guys know what I'm talking about. The whole like insane flirkin chaos was. I was dying. Like, I was like, and then the song choice. The song choice was genius. Like, come on, my god. It was so good. I was like, okay, like this tells you like everything of what this movie is. Like, this tells like the tone, everything. It's so good. Like, and like Ray nailed it on the head too, talking about like, like we got Kamala, who's the rainbow. She's just so fun and so optimistic, and she's still like this kid energy, and she's almost like the inner child that we want to like kind of keep with the inner child as we kind of grow. And and then of course, Carol is all business, super serious. She's dealing with like this traumatic stuff that of her past that she had to deal with which is the main what she's dealing with, the main villain. And then of course we got why did she drop?
Monica.
Help me.
Monica?
Monica, yes, thank you. Sorry.
Monica?
Just dropped out of my brain.
Sorry.
But and like Monica is very much like kind of in the middle, and she's got her own kind of like thing with Carol, of course. And they have all this like great entanglement with them. They all had like great chemistry, and then and like the challenge too of like their powers being entangled and just from a filmmaking perspective too, like how are we gonna like, but also creatively they could kind of do whatever they really want to, just do some insane fight sequences, you know, just some fun stuff. And seeing them having to like struggle throughout the whole film of like trying to figure it out, just having so many problems. But when they finally get it together, you're just like, damn, like it really came together really, really well. But yeah, just it was so fun and like a lot much more funny too than I was expecting it to be. But yeah, it was great.
See, I find that people say it's not funny, but then I question their sense of humor. Like, what does it take? Like, I was laughing a lot. You know,
I know.
Sorry, like
no, you're good.
Right.
No sense of humor. If you don't find anything funny about this, you're lying.
So let's just talk about the planet that they went to, where people.
Oh my God!
Yes, I love it
as a language.
So good.
And he's bilingual, the leader, so he can talk. And
also,
I know, like
he's gorgeous.
But then, like seeing Bree
I said, of course,
scene, right?
you marry somebody that gorgeous. Yeah, Carol. Good job.
Right.
Didn't Monica even do like a little head turn too? She was like, "Oh, damn."
The fact that Monica was double fisting, she was just done for the day.
Yeah, they were.
She was done. I felt every part of that. I said, "Ma'am, so done."
So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this film. It felt like a Marvel movie. It felt like it should. It felt like a great space, you know, comedy drama. There's
Odyssey.
You know, a lot of element.
Yes.
A space odyssey. That's a great way to put it. Space Odyssey. I love super powerful characters, so this is great. They're all very, very powerful. The one negative I have for the powers is I don't feel like we got enough of Ms. Marvel's big in power. Like she didn't get to go big.
Yeah, we saw her hand, but that was right.
But it wasn't as much like her like turning into a ball or like she can do a lot more. They didn't.
Like if she would have got really big on the Skrull colony, like that would have been that.
She
would
could have held
really
up
good.
a building or something, right?
Or her hand or something like that to help them down, like that. Yeah, I
like the you know the scarf thing she got, a little extra something new. You got to give her something new. New suit looks good. I like that we got to see.
This.
No, go ahead.
I don't think it takes. This movie doesn't take too far after she kind of like gets her abilities.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it makes sense why she's limited in what she does. Like her skill is better. Yeah. Because she's had time in between that, and that makes sense. But I think with her embiggen powers, because I think at the end of her show, the reason that even happened was because of the stress that her friends were under, and I think that was like a natural effect for her to just kind of like she was protecting her family. So I think that's why. Even though I do agree, it would have been dope to see her like the scale of her in that big open space, but I think that's part of the reason why.
Subtle missed opportunity, but that's really that's really the only negative I have.
Sure.
I think Sam Jackson brings it as always. I think that the kind of trouble with Tribbles kind of moment with all the eggs.
I was thinking about the same thing.
Subtle moments.
It's like, oh my God.
But you got to see all three characters grow, and with Monica, we didn't get enough of her really in WandaVision. She's just there. She's got powers. She helps fight, but we don't get to know her. So this one, we actually get to know her more. We get to know her personality. I love that her hair is the same, and like you can tell that it's Monica, and like you get to continue with this character. And they didn't name her, which I thought was really great. They did, but
I was going to mention that whole scene too that was fun when she's trying to come up with a name for her.
They kind of said, but then they kind of said all her names,
right?
In the comics, and then she kind of said her own name, which is why I'm calling her Spectrum, because she says like I can see the spectrum. I was like she's Spectrum,
which is right.
I was like she's Spectrum in this.
I love that they mentioned Nova in there, and then still haven't we still haven't gotten to Nova. We'll talk about the after credits in a minute, because that's the thing that I'm like jittering about.
Going nuts. I'm going nuts over.
Let's go to Tyler, and then we'll go to Lon.
I was gonna say that like this, I think this movie is a good foundation of what a Marvel movie could be if they utilize the TV shows correctly and like all the previous movies before. Like this one actually felt like, okay, the stuff that happened in the TV shows actually kind of like
it makes sense.
Actually, like with WandaVision, like, and then Doctor Strange, like I just did not like the way that they like butchered that one. Thank God this movie's super colorful. Like
it is.
We're moving away from like
vibrant, like
dark superhero movies. Like
especially on that singing planet. Like
Amazing.
Yeah.
It was like
Okay, good.
So
beautiful.
gorgeous.
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
know.
this is a real thing in a movie right now.
I'm gonna let you guys continue for a moment. I have to step away.
I don't
Alright.
want to
Okay.
give you the rest of your time, Tyler, but I meant to mention that her family, like I loved her family so much. I loved them in the
Mhm.
show, and I also
Mhm.
loved
Love them
them
even more here. Yep.
in
Yeah.
the movie. I was asking myself the whole time, where's Amir's wife? Like that's what I was trying to like, where is his wife at? But I get her not being in it, but I'm like,
Yeah.
also
Right.
Just
what
like Bruno and her friend wasn't there.
correct.
Right.
Yeah.
They kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
regulated
yeah.
it to just the family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Which,
love that
yeah, I
they
get it. It can
did
get
her
too
in
much.
Urdu, like,
Mm.
and that
Mhm.
they didn't translate it. Like that makes
Yeah.
me
Yep.
happy
Yeah.
Yeah.
that they're like
Mhm.
they're speaking to her and she understands them,
Mhm.
and you have a lot of that bilingual. I have a lot of friends who are not whose parents are immigrants,
Mhm.
so they are bilingual, and it's like it's not for you. That's the point. Like the subtitles, like
Yeah.
my subtitles will translate it, but they didn't in the movie, and I love it.
Yeah.
I like
Because you
this.
don't get
Look at the
everything. You
Chinese
don't
channel,
get
just like,
everything.
yes,
Yeah.
representation. I was so excited.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, was it not translated like in the actual? Well, I had
No,
subtitles
they
on,
don't say
so I
what
don't
he
know. But like,
means. When her
Yeah,
dad
like in the
talks to her on the station, they don't
Did you? Yeah,
translate
you
it.
they
And
leave
oh
it.
yeah,
mom,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
I thought you were talking about. There's this one
Mhm.
part where like she tells her to tell Carol something, and then Carol's like, "Oh, what did she say?" She's like, "I don't know." I was like, "That's so
Is it
real, bro." Like,
nothing?
yeah,
Uh-huh.
my mom would be
Yeah.
the same.
She said some
Like,
stuff my mom probably shouldn't have said, but
Right.
she said anyway. So
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll just keep that to myself. Like,
Yeah.
I do agree with that though. Like, that's why I think this movie's so good in the sense that like it doesn't even like it doesn't just utilize the TV shows, it enhanced like the TV shows. Like I loved spending time with that family. Like the more I just wanted to spend more time with them. Even like on the space station and like the whole like when they're gathering all the
Yeah.
cats and stuff, she had like I don't know if
Mhm.
she had
Oh
a
my
little cat
god.
toy to like the
Yeah.
Mhm.
mom like sweeping him up. I didn't know that what is his name? The brother, he's like a
Amir.
podcaster. Yeah,
Come
Yeah.
here.
in
Yeah.
real life. Yeah, so he's great. He's super funny all the time. Yeah, Nia DaCosta was the director.
Mhm.
I think
Yeah.
this is just a good foundation, I think, for like
Yeah.
Marvel movies moving forward. And I'm glad that
Agreed.
I had waited. I didn't go to the theaters to watch it. I know there was just like a lot of different conversations going around, so I kind of like
Mhm.
avoided the movie. Um,
Yeah.
which I don't know if I'm glad that I did or not, but like I mean, I'm happy I watched it now, like not having listened to what anybody was saying about it or whatever,
Yeah.
and just like I enjoyed it a lot more.
Well, that
I
goes to
think
show you
that,
how much of an impact that kind of stuff has
yeah.
on your
Mhm.
experience too, with like
Mm.
which I kind of don't like,
Mhm.
sometimes. I mean, like that. I think some of that stuff affected, Drive Away Dolls for me.
Yeah.
Like having this expectation, but yeah, and that's why like going into this, I was like, I'm not listening to all those haters because
Mhm.
Mhm.
they're gonna say the same thing they always say, and they're always wrong. So I'm just
Mhm.
gonna go in
No
and enjoy
facts.
this, and I like brought like my so I have like adopted parents, like all of my adopted parents,
Mhm.
they're big Marvel folks too, and they loved it. They had like no reference for like the shows or anything really, but
Right.
Mhm.
they'd seen some, and
You
like
kind of
they
didn't need it though, which I
yeah
think I
Right.
liked
yeah they did a
about
pretty
you
good
didn't
job.
need it.
Yeah,
If you had it, it
just
was
a
nice to
fun
have,
fun
but you kind of
sci-fi.
didn't need it. If you just went from Captain Marvel to this, I think you would still
Yeah
be fine.
yeah
So yeah.
totally
And that's how it
totally
should be. Like I think
right.
that's why it's so
No,
good.
honestly, that is how it should be for
When her
sure.
mom says that she's so happy for Monica for getting her powers, I was like, why are you the
Yeah.
most wonderful life ever? She's like, we're happy for you. That's wonderful.
But
She's like,
also,
I went
where's
through
my
a witch
daughter?
hex.
Yeah
Also, I
yeah
did a little bit get transformed by that.
yeah
That's
yeah
No, for sure.
wonderful.
That's
yeah
wonderful.
That's
Where's my
exciting.
daughter?
Yeah.
Where's my daughter?
You guys still haven't said where she's at though.
No,
yeah.
for sure. Like,
Yeah,
where's
right.
beautiful?
Like
I
happy
don't
for
care about
you,
this dynamic right
right?
now.
Yeah
Like, I
Tell
don't
me
care
where
about
my
this.
child is.
Where's
Yes.
my child? Yeah.
Also,
For me, oh wait, are you done, Ty, with your?
oh, I just want to do a shout out for the production
Go
designer
ahead. Go
because
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
oh yeah
Kamala's room is just so like
oh
it's
my god
so
dude yeah
rid with like detail that's just like insane. And like
yeah
I was
Yeah.
actually kind of sad when they were like busting through that house in that first fight scene. I was like,
I
Oh
know
my
I
god.
love this.
Don't touch her room, though. Don't hit her
yeah
room.
I was like, not the
she's
room,
got so
not the
much
house.
merch in there.
Yeah.
Hit all the other rooms. Don't hit Kamala's room though.
Yeah.
I was like, Carol, are you gonna pay for all of this? You're like, what?
Not at all.
Oh my god.
I was like, Fury will. I was like, Fury got this. I was like, Fury will pay for it. It's fine. I was like, it's okay.
Oh, Fury was super funny in this movie. Like,
he was hilarious.
Yeah. Extra funny. He had one.
Sam Jackson got to be a little bit more Sam Jackson.
Yeah.
You know, his Sam Jackson bled through a little bit. It was nice to see that. I don't know. I 100% enjoyed this film. I can say some bad things about it, and I don't even think they're bad. They're just like little tweaks for me that I would like. I wouldn't say, I don't think I have anything bad to say about it. I can be critiquey. I'll be critiquey, and then I'll go fangirl for the rest of it. So just to be a little critiquey, for me personally, when it comes to characters and emotions.
Torch by chance?
Ooh.
You want to light your critiquey torch while you do a critiquey?
honestly, I'm stealing that. Thank you, Brian. Telling you that right now. I'll cut you in for 10 once I get my monies and stuff like that. But I'm stealing that for sure. My little critiquey torch for the beginning is that when it comes to characters, as you all know, I love like some deep characters. I love character arcs. I love that stuff. The emotion between Tiana and Bree just kind of wasn't there for me. Okay. If I'm being honest, it was. I think in some scenes it was, and in other scenes it wasn't. For me in particular, the scene when they were on the when they landed on the grass of the planet, and they got out and they were kind of talking, I felt like Bree had the emotion, but when I felt like Carol had the emotion, but when her and Monica started talking, I didn't feel the emotion from Monica a lot. I can hear it in her voice. It just didn't read on her face for it to connect for me. But like I said, other scenes when they were like emotional, I was like, "Ooh, let's go." It just felt like it was like hit or miss sometimes in that.
Yeah, when they were in the grass or cornfield or wherever that was, it felt more like an epiphany. And I think that was kind of where you see that kind of when Kamala was like, I wasn't giving you room. Neither was Monica. Like when she found out she was still using the scroll device to access her memories, and it's like for 30 years she's been trying to access these memories.
And she's like addicted.
She's still trying to rebuild it. And she was like, is that why you didn't come home? Because after Captain Marvel, when she said she's gonna go, that she's been trying to fix her mistake this whole time. And how many times have you secluded yourself, or have you had people seclude themselves from you because of mistakes that they made because they didn't feel that they were worthy? And that's when she's like, you were my family, like I love you and I just wanted you home. And the fact that you never came back because she's been beating herself up for decades is like, that's when that kind of felt like it did feel like a disjointed, like she was really emotional in that scene. And Monica was like, well, you
okay, but we family, so why didn't you come home?
So that's why it felt off.
It felt off to me. So because I didn't need Monica to be like, well, it's just I didn't need that. I just needed her to be like, she could have been angry. You know what I mean? Like the emotion could have been different. It could have been a sad emotion. It could have been like an apathetic emotion. But I just felt like whatever emotion they gave her, like whatever direction they gave her for that moment, didn't read with the scene well enough for me. Just in that scene. But like I said, when they were on the ship and they were talking, and she was like, I tried to, when that read really good to me. That's to me was like the only moment where I was like, maybe they should have had some like some improv training to like connect more. Like I don't know, like something like that. But that withstanding, that didn't remove anything from the film for me. That didn't change the film in any way. It's just a spot where I was like, oh, y'all kind of let the emotion dip a little bit. And I wasn't hoping for fireworks, like a big blow up, but I was hoping for something a little bit more grounded, especially when like we saw Monica be like this little kid that like looked up to her and loved her. And she kind of, I think this was like raised, like not her point, but like a point that you made. I'm just kind of like pulling a little bit from there. It's like, it was interesting to see a character who we previously seen like obsessed with her, loved her. Yeah. Right. Wanted to be her. And then she eventually did glow like her Auntie Carol at the end, which I thought that was a beautiful, like little,
and flying space like
reach back. Like little reach back. But remember, he said you couldn't do it until you learn to glow like your Auntie Carol. And I'm just saying, it was just a beautiful little, like, I'm like, that's so cute. But it's also one of those things where it's like, you see her be so in tune, like so like attached to her. And I understand 30 years is That's
a
heavy.
long time.
Like I snapped, my mom died, you weren't there, but she was there, but she wasn't there. You weren't there for me to see you. You know what I mean? So it's like all these things have happened, and Monica deserved, like rightfully so, she has these emotions that she's right to, but then to kind of see her not, it's like she was Brie from the first movie. It's like her emotions got like shut down and cut off. It's like she became like Captain Marvel, like she's, you know, originally was. It's like she became like Captain Marvel in a sense.
Yeah.
Right. So it was kind of like
a good defense. Yeah.
Well, who
it
does
was
she have
kind of
left?
like
Oh my god.
No, for sure, right? And it's kind of like Carol was looking at Monica, but like looking at herself at the same time, could being like, okay, not only did I destroy this world, but I kind of destroyed this girl, and now I got this other girl that like loves me, kind of like how, like I can't destroy this too. So hi, my name's Carol. It's nice to meet you. This type of thing. So like I highly enjoy like those making amends. I enjoy Carol kind of like lightening up a little bit. You see her smile more in this than you seen her smile in the previous one, because I like that we got the cameo from what's her name, Valkyrie.
Absolutely.
That
Tessa Thompson
alluded to,
and Tanya were both in Dear White People, so seeing them together in this was very interesting.
That's true.
Yeah.
But seeing Valkyrie kind of come back kind of alludes to like maybe there's a relationship between her and Carol that nobody's like that they've kind of kept it together and kept that quiet, and that's pretty cool. It also alludes to the fact that Carol knows that she can't do this by herself as previously thought, because she has, obviously they've worked together multiple times to house people at New Asgard and things like that. So like there's little drips of information that I think people went in just like either just completely ignoring all the things they learned from Captain Marvel and the
they
TV
weren't going to
shows
watch the movies that they needed to in order to catch up to this, because they hated those too. So they're going to just be like,
they don't like women. It's women in it. Like who cares?
Exactly.
But it's like there's so many like little drips of nuggets and like little seasonings, as I could call them. This just made this more delicious than it needed to actually, you know, little Salt Bay all over this film. And I'll say this, and we can all just like start, you know, ping ponging like we usually do. I'll just say like, because I could talk about this film all day. I'll probably do a review about it, but I like the fact that Kamala goes from, we see her in her like, I like that they brought back her drawing storytelling, which I think is always like brilliant, just drawing, and it looks great, and you can tell that she's like
only when she's in her own.
It's so hard to, right? Like, it's so hard to draw hands. Why is it so hard to draw hands? I'm like, it is difficult. That's
like,
why
my wife exclaimed,
I always had trouble with hands too. Yeah, exactly.
You know, like I lost my mind at that scene. I was like, that's why I'm not a drawer, because I stopped.
AI has trouble with hands.
Right.
Even AI.
Exactly. It's so difficult. It's so difficult.
Isn't that weird that hands have trouble drawing hands? I'm so sorry. That's weird.
I'm just saying. So it's just so like seeing that in the beginning was very cool, but I love that we kind of saw her go from like this wide-eyed character, this wide-eyed fangirl, to realizing that it's not all like rainbows and unicorns.
Reality
being a hero, right? This is the reality of being a hero. We can't save everybody. We got one ship. We can only save who we can save. And for her to be that young to experience that, one, that's messed up, but two, she is a superhero in her own right. She was going to have to learn this eventually, and it's pretty dope to learn it from your mentor and then somebody else that you're starting to look up to, right? To kind of like carry you through that. So I think that was like a beautiful arc for Kamala's character. I do love her family. I love that they didn't forget that in this film. I love that, like, because you could have easily not had her brother and just had her parents. I love that they had her brother as well.
They were actualized characters. They were not
for real
type of background characters. Yes,
they didn't like play the background. They got into the muck and fighting just because it's my family. They almost died multiple times. You know what I mean? Like it was giving
but that's also like from the comics, which is great. Like the family isn't.
Yeah, it was giving like Blue Beetle and his family. When his family like got into the mix of things. Because let's be honest, if we love our family, and if something like this happens, no matter how freaked out we would be, we would 9 times out of 10 step up for our family as best we can. Like I don't care what anybody says. Like I don't know if I would. You would if it came down to like a family you love, though.
The transition in the storytelling of that a lot of superheroes come from this like bad background or that they don't have families, and that's
they're
kind
broken
of
in
their,
some way, and that's why they become a superhero. Yeah.
and her family was like, first of all, we don't know what's happening a little bit with your power situation, but you will always be our daughter, and I need you to know that you will always be our daughter. So you
No
need to
facts.
still be
Also,
doing the
you weren't
superhero
home.
There's
So
a lot.
where were you?
There's a lot of like. Yeah, there's a lot of like.
Yes.
themes
Where were
in there
you?
for that,
Is
know.
Captain Marvel pressuring you?
Oh my
I
God.
love the
Her
pressure.
father,
Yeah.
one of my favorite characters ever.
Yeah, her father.
Fantastic.
Her father is amazing. He's a man that like
Oh
he
my
kind of
God, I
reminds
love
me of
him.
my grandfather in the sense that my grandfather could have a conversation with anybody, and I kind of picked that up from my grandfather. I could have a conversation, and like her dad can have a conversation. He was talking to a man that was like 360 years old or something like that.
About 401k and stuff.
About 401k.
What?
Did you guys?
How wholesome was that scene in space?
Her brother was like, "Oh wow, same. You're
Same
now
age.
306. Oh, good.
It's like same age. Yeah.
Did you guys talk about the post-credit scene yet, or can I lead off with that?
No.
Okay.
No. We're waiting for you, sir.
I appreciate that. So yeah, we had a little thing, but everything seems okay. So
No worries.
so as soon as that post-credit scene happened, it felt like the moment when Fury shows up with Tony. It had a very like Iron Man.
pee a little?
I when they said that she was putting a team together, I can only imagine
that was pretty,
Amadeus Cho. That's all I can think in my mind is I cannot wait for Amadeus Cho to show up and we actually get a full-blown Hulk. That is not going to just be either nerfed or thrown to the side or kept with Universal or whatever the hell.
Are you sure that's going to happen though?
So if it's Kate Bishop and it's Kamala Khan, it's the champions, flat out.
I mean, people say that a lot about the MCU. Like if it's this and this, it's going to be this, and then they don't get the third thing.
This is a little different. This is already predetermined team, like the Avengers. It's a little different in that sense. It's not like Wanda's powers come from Mephisto or whatever, in the comic. It's not like.
But it's still a thing where they can choose.
But they have Cho has already been, so we know that Cho's aunt is already in the MCU. We've already established his potential character. There's no reason not to have his character, and if his character shows up at all, then he's going to be a Hulk.
Listen, I'm playing devil's advocate because I don't want our Snitty to be hurt if this does not happen.
She-Hulk's the best Hulk we get.
Excited.
That's it.
You seem so excited, and I love that for you. I just want you to pull it back up.
You want to manage my expectations?
Yeah. Yes, I do, because I don't want you to be hurt, sir. Because we've all been hurt somewhere in the MCU, and I don't want that to happen.
I'll let it go if it happens, but what? This gets a 5.6 on IMDb? What is wrong with everyone?
I don't trust them. That's what happened.
Listen,
not
only did it have
like the least.
Not only did it have women in it, but it also had women of color
directed
in it,
by a woman,
and and it was directed by a woman of color, and people can't handle that.
Most of the
that's too much color.
Speaking of it being directed by a woman of color, this was a small thing, and I don't know if anyone else would have been looking for this, but when they come out of the water on Aladdin. And Monica's hair is shrunken. Oh my God, I was crying in the theater. I was like, only a Black woman would have have known to do that.
That continuity was amazing.
That's like Denzel. Denzel talks about culture.
He talks about
versus color, right?
Yeah.
And that's 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, that was a moment where I was like, I think we're going a good way with the Black characters in the MCU if this is what we're doing. Because for one, she didn't have braids. She didn't have braids.
Right.
For two,
or straight hair,
and this is not a slight against Maria. This is not a slight against Maria. Exactly. It's not shaven into like a short cut or anything like that. Even though Maria looks amazing, I love her hair like that. I'm not knocking her.
90s,
but every character don't need to have that hairstyle. That's a Black woman. Okay. So to have her just with the full hair that was here, and then the water brought it here.
Right. When she got up, and I said it to my niece, and she was like, "Did it?" Because she wasn't looking for it either. She was just watching the action. I'm like, I know it. and it was important because every time
Yep.
they would have made it wet, but it would have been straighter,
Right.
or
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like that. And I'm like,
Yep.
please don't.
Her
do
face would have been
no.
just wet and
No,
nothing else.
Yeah,
no
her face
facts.
where her hair would
But
have
her
been
hair
wetter.
is like pristine,
Right,
and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
It gets a
What are
worse
we
rating on
doing?
Letterboxd, by the way.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
no,
Why
like
are people
listen,
like this? I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm gonna give it a 5 just to be
enjoyed
fun.
this.
Like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Letterboxd, I'll give it a 5. I'll raise it up. Here we go. Like, I got it.
Like,
Yeah, but how?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so
see
we
your
have a pretty
Killers of the
diverse
Flower Moon,
panel.
and I give you the Marvels. And
Right.
I'll raise you the Marvels.
We have a diverse panel when it comes to taste. Like we definitely all kind of have our different flavors. Some of us
Right.
line up on different
For sure.
things, but that's kind of the joy of this panel. And I can already tell the
For sure.
5 of us liked this movie. This is not like we can always tell right away.
Mhm.
And there's no question. How is it that 5 out of 5 that just doesn't seem to add up to the larger
Yeah,
audience? I
that's
don't
why.
No,
It's
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
I don't know.
I even
I
looked at
literally
some of the
watched-
like
Oh, I'm
friend
sorry, Ray.
ratings on Letterboxd, and
Mhm.
like just the varying from like the people, because everyone I follow on there is from TikTok, and I'm
Yeah.
like, what do you mean that's how you felt?
What do you mean?
Explain it for
want?
me, because
Why are
I've
you
had
like this?
people, I've heard people complain about Darben that she wasn't a good villain, and I'm like, you're mistaken. She's fantastic as a villain because her sole purpose is the protection and safety of her people, and that
She's literally Kuvira from Legend of Korra.
I think that they assume that if you're going to be this galactic, like the concept of a villain or vigilante is someone with a singular purpose, right? At the detriment or the exclusion of, like, they don't care what happens to anyone else.
Exactly.
And someone who's willing to use galactic jump points to siphon natural resources from other planets in order to hurt Carol, how much more definitive could she possibly have been? I just don't know what you mean she wasn't a good villain. I believe
this is why I feel like, and I will say, I know I said I wanted like a second, like maybe like a Captain Marvel 2 and then this, but I'm still on that standpoint. But I would have preferred maybe a short in between.
A short would have been good, yeah.
This film, maybe even like a couple of them, because I don't know what happened to the MCU where they stopped doing shorts,
like one shots. Yeah,
like one shots and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like
That was
what are we
phase
doing? Because
1.
those were
those were fun.
those
though,
were,
too.
you know what I
love
mean?
those.
But those were great, and they added more to the world, because
Totally.
you're not going to give us a Captain Marvel TV show. You're not going to give us
Right.
a Monica Rambeau Captain Rambeau TV show. So you could have gave us a one shot, and we didn't have to see Kamala because she has her show. We could have seen what Carol has been doing up in these 30 years, and what Monica has been doing, you know, in between that, you know, after WandaVision, because obviously, you know, Fury called her, but it would have been nice to see like just a little bit in between that. You could have even like introduced Darben as a character within this to give us some background, because if you look at the little shot that they showed us from like the flashback and everything, right? She looks like a normal Kree warrior patrolling the streets, and then to watch a beam of light destroy pretty much your like the Kree Empire, or where you live, your home world, right? That can build up a tension, an animosity, of revenge in a person, like it obviously did. But I think the disconnect for people is like kind of like not getting a little bit of background on her. I feel like if they would have sprinkled some background of her, me personally, I didn't need it. I enjoyed her,
right?
But I think for other people, even if they would have took that scene and like spliced it up from like maybe we saw from her point of view, that's kind of skewed, but then we see it from Carol's point of view the second time we see it, because like maybe the movie could have started with that to show Darben a little bit, show her like loving this world, or you know, protecting this world, and then seeing that happen. I think it would have changed the dynamic of her character. But I enjoy everything she did, because one, she was doing it to hurt Carol. Obviously, she was succeeding. Yeah. And two, she was willing to use any power known to man to do what she was doing. And I love the way that the bracelet is technically what connects all of them. Yes. You know, like, and I thought it was, I just love that aspect of it. And I love that they use jump points again. I love the
Does that mean they're doing a lot?
They look like
they're using them a lot, which is great. Because even in Captain Marvel, you see him obviously in the Guardians movies. Do you guys think that somehow those gauntlets were Bangles gauntlets were imbued with the Tesseract? Because that's the only way that makes any sense that Carol's power would be intermixed. And then how does Monica's, because she walked through a hex? Like I'm a little lost on
I mean,
that.
they
like,
say that she only, I mean, she did twice though, technically.
She got thrown through it and then walked through it.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what really changed.
So I think the Bangles,
it's
are already magic on
so it's
on
at an
themselves.
atom
They're
level.
quantum,
Right.
They're quantum, so like they're like quantum generated in a sense. So like that's why they didn't get destroyed when the world blew open. Like she just got destroyed because they can handle that power. And I think Monica is, let's be honest too, she got changed by an Infinity Stone in a sense, because that's in this world, that's what Scarlet Witch is. She's like a walking Infinity Stone, just like Carol. So she got changed on a cellular level, which made sense for her to be able to absorb that stuff, just like Carol. And
so the Bangles are tied to a different Infinity Stone somehow, because that means
I don't think they're tied. I don't think they're tied to an Infinity Stone. I really think if we go back to the Eternals, I think Fastus made them. Personally, I think he made them, because I think any like Bangle or any type of like thing that we see that like doesn't have like an origin, like it didn't come from an Infinity Stone, it didn't come like Tony or Bruce didn't make it. I really think Fastus somewhere along the line that we never seen, and because he's a bajillion years old, I feel like he made it because we know his character is very smart, very quick, and creates things in time where you don't need to create them.
Do we?
And it wouldn't.
Do we feel like any of this?
Yeah.
Do we feel like any of that connects to that credit scene in Shang-Chi? Yeah,
I do.
I think that the dance and the rings are connected.
Yes,
I do, because remember the rings was sending out a pulse
at the end,
and it's a possibility that is connected to. Because remember, in Ms. Marvel, they said it like the clandestine, like that's their like thing or whatever. It would make sense to me that the Eternals have crossed paths with like a bajillion like jinns and things like that, and everybody, so
or like been near, not necessarily crossed paths with, but been around or influenced
or affected by whatever.
I think all of the above. Honestly, it wouldn't put it past me if maybe because remember when she let them all go, that was during like. After death, I was like AD time when she like
it was during like the Aztec Empire era.
So like she let them all go be free. So there's no telling what they all were doing during this time by themselves without any governance, because she kind of kept them in line.
Well, we know what Druid was doing. He was off trying to take over a castle, trying to take over Saltburn. But that's we know that's what he was.
Chloe Zhao was like, "Oh yeah, this is all good stuff."
That's all. He's taking a bath in between. He's just taking a bath. It's fine.
Can I say something about like people not liking Dark-Ben as like a villain though? Like that's so. It's so interesting because I feel like Dark-Ben was like, it reminded me so much of Thanos, and everyone loved Thanos. Like, isn't it similar? They're both trying to like make everything equal. It's like, hey, Carol, you messed this planet, you messed our planet up. I'm gonna take your shit too. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I will say, like, I have to like say, just so I'm not quiet, because I had already said in the comments, because like Janine and I kind of like see eye to eye on like the villain. I too was not like too like I like loved her motivation. Like that's a powerful thing, right? But I think what Lot already said too was like, I do wish I had more to her, to like really connect with her more a little bit. Motivation. And I think for me too, it was like what Tyler had mentioned too, like, isn't she just kind of like Thanos? I think that's kind of like what maybe some people were kind of like, where she wasn't that memorable. So like, okay,
I mean, how much more development would you say she needed compared to the High Evolutionary? Because I feel like they got exactly the same amount of character development.
The High Evolutionary?
Yeah.
Oh, from Guardians?
Oh, the third Guardian. Oh, yeah.
I would say that as far as I mean, I even think she has a more definitive like motivation than he did, because we don't really know what his motivation was. We just know that he's terrible. So
Yeah.
like I just said for like asking a question to you, would you say that he also needed more development?
I think so. What it was for me was like I like loved her motivation. Like I loved that aspect where like the High Evolutionary was just nasty, and like I think too we like, because it's like Rocket and we see so much like we're connecting more with Rocket and what happened to him and his friends. It really, like I didn't need any like the motivations behind like the whatever High Evolutionary motivation needed. It was more just like what he was doing against Rocket, where it was like I could understand why in the Marvels why she was doing what she was doing. I think I don't know, like I feel like it was almost something we've kind of like seen before, but yeah, go ahead.
Can I tap in for this one? For me personally, if I want to connect the High Evolutionary and Dar-Benn, for me, the only difference between the two, because Ray's right, they get the same amount of like character, like development or like, showing. I would say the difference between them is purely acting. I don't think the High Evolutionary needed more. I think I could see if they wanted to drop more for the High Evolutionary. I can see if they could drop more for Dar-Benn, because like that would be nice too. Like I said, for me personally, I enjoyed her, but I will say her acting solely could have been like up a notch, just like because here's the thing too. I don't need her to be like she destroyed. I don't need her to be that angry, because I don't need her to be High Evolutionary screaming, and that worked for his character. For me personally,
it just seemed like
the energy in her acting was different than everybody else's. I felt like if her energy, she could keep the same words, she could keep her same tone, she could keep everything. I think that it's just the energy in her acting.
I hear what you're saying, but for me, that translated as resolute. She wasn't as emotionally peaked because she had already made her decision. I mean,
those emotions were years ago, right?
Exactly. Thanos was also, I mean, he was more maniacal, but in a similar stable way, that he knew the actions he was taking were terrible, but he was doing them anyway because they met his needs. They did what he wanted to achieve. And the same for her. So I was fine that she was kind of flat, but also so would any person who's like, this is what's happening. The end of the story. Because the guy, like her crony, was kind of like, you could kind of see that he was like, you know what I mean? Like he was nervous because he knew at any point she could unleash. And that is kind of where I got her emotional like characterization from, is in the people that were around her. Sometimes you get that villainous or like their nature based on the people that they are around. And all of those people that were around her, all of the people that were helping her mine the bangle were like, we'll keep looking.
We'll just
There's only
do
one here. Like, because they know like she can end them.
Can we look at the villains? I like that you guys are having this discussion, but I think it does come down to
real quick before you do that. I just want to throw in one more thing about Dar-Benn specifically before we do like.
This is still going to relate to all of this, but it's going to relate back to her. But if you look at all the villains, let's just take. I'm going to pick 4 big ones that we can pull out of the whole MCU. We'll take Ironmonger. We'll take Hela. We'll take and Thanos and Ultron. If you look at the 4 actors that play those characters, they are heavy hitters with very distinct personalities and voices that bring a power, a gravitas to the character. This actress isn't known. We don't know her from a lot of stuff. So she doesn't bring the gravitas that we would expect from, Josh Brolin is Thanos. Like he just oozes Thanos.
He should have won something for that.
He really should.
I'll take that's in my grave.
But all of them, even Tony Stark built this in we know that we're putting her against Jeff Bridges,
He's
not
comparable for
it's
real.
really hard for us to compare her acting to theirs because they're gonna just automatically bring that. Same with Sam Jackson.
And maybe that's what it was for me. Maybe it was just like
it could be that
her performance I was not buying. But
that's what I was gonna say. And then, like
I said,
that,
I did love the motivation behind it. It was like that's
Mhm.
like like I get that, like that's heartbreaking, and like
Mhm.
yeah. Anyways, go ahead, Tyler.
I was just gonna say, like, the other thing I was thinking of too, with like, and this is not to say like James Gunn is better at it or like Nia DaCosta is better at it or whatever, but I think also when you're juggling like an ensemble piece, I think already you're already put at a certain disadvantage where you're like, I need to spend, your principal actors, that's the characters that you need to put the most focus on, and then probably the villain underneath that. So like you're already started chopping away at like time that you could spend on, developing Darben a little bit more, but.
Ronan didn't get a
Or even,
ton
like,
of development in
too.
Guardians, but because Lee Pace is like, I will,
But
honestly,
honestly, I don't even think it's. I don't even think it's that with Lee Pace. I think the way he's introduced is menacing enough that when he does starts to speak and do things, you believe it. And I think in this film, Darben got a disadvantage of her not having a moment like that. And I'm not like for like the whole.
Her moment was collecting the bangle,
right?
That was her moment.
Right.
Check out the bangle.
Yeah,
that's her moment.
But again, I would just say if we had a little bit to go on for her in the beginning, I think it really would have changed the dynamic of what people think of her character.
Yeah.
Like I understand her motivation. I like I said, I personally enjoyed her, but like for me, it was like the bit of energy. And if I had to equate her to anybody, I know I said Kuvira, and she does have like that Kuvira, I'm doing this for my people type of stance. That's Legend of Korra. They're Snitty. I don't know if you knew. I mean, I know that Ray seems more informed than you, but I'm just it's a second. Oh, okay.
I'm aware of media. I don't always consume.
Okay, I didn't want to. Just
he knows
assume
the word
there. I'm
media
sorry.
Means.
Yeah.
That media is a thing, and it has stuff in it.
Yeah, but but like when I say like energy, by energy, I mean like if Darben would have had, again, I'm gonna pull from Avatar: Last Airbender. If Darben had Azula energy, again, I'll let you guys get to that, but I think everybody else know what I mean by Azula energy. If she had Azula energy, even with her not being like loud and brash, and I don't want that from her, but if she had an energy that was like a little bit more seething, a little bit more menacing, a little bit more like, I believe that she'll kill these people if they don't do what she says. I think that will change the dynamic of her character.
See,
she wasn't a bad character. I don't think she's a bad character at all.
Right.
I just don't think they gave her enough correct dialogue and correct direction for people to see what she could probably truly do.
Another
I feel
thing,
like Ty is kind of right. Like they kind of like maybe pushed her character to the side.
Right.
To more influence the three,
I think another thing for me too was that just came to mind was like power levels. Also, like I think about, okay, you got Kamala, you got the Marvels, they're combining their powers to take her on. I just didn't feel like she was like that powerful to warrant
okay.
Like attacking, like having
she had Ronan's scepter,
right? And I was like,
wouldn't that still have like residuals from the power zone?
Yeah, it was like a Ronan.
I thought like we saw that in
Guardians. Carol said it was universal weapon or something like that.
Yeah, they like
something.
Yeah.
Well, what you call it named it too. She was like, I was gonna call it a quasar stone or something.
Yeah.
She said, like Kamala said
something Cosmorod. That's what it was.
Yeah, Cosmorod. There it is, like a Cosmorod. I love her so much.
So a lot of people,
literally every fandom person just in a movie.
What's hilarious is the fanboys hated Kamala in this movie because she was so annoying. And I'm like, isn't that interesting? You guys like the overly ridiculous. Right, but like, of course you found her annoying. You are her, so you don't like looking at yourself in the mirror.
Stop looking in the mirror, right?
Yeah,
like,
that's
what
how
do you mean?
I wouldn't give them that much credit.
Okay,
though.
it's okay.
No, but you get my point.
Self-love. Don't hurt yourself.
Yeah,
don't hurt yourself.
She, I don't know. I loved her in this because like it just made sense because like she was, she was this like bright beaming kid. She's like realizing this dream, of like being in this team.
Well, she was very
So
Peter
it's like-
Parker, right? When he got to go into space
Yeah,
with Tony, it
totally,
was
yeah.
very like they could have been the same character in a lot of ways.
Yeah, on Civil War, he's like fanboying, but also he's like fighting
my
them.
God.
It's like,
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
She's
yeah,
doing the
Got a
same
metal
thing. She's
arm?
like, woo.
That's so
Yeah.
cool, dude.
Yeah.
I love
He
that
just
Monica.
seems strong
Usually
and
there's
just
not
holding
this
it back.
much,
You
this
got a
much
metal
talking.
arm?
Now I want to see
Yeah.
Peter Parker meet her, but now he's older, he's
Yeah,
wiser,
Yeah, he's
and like teaches her some things, right?
more
I think that'd be
experienced.
good.
Honestly,
Yeah.
it would be cool if she went and found Peter Parker because he's still doing Peter Parker-y things, like
Except she
Spider-Man-y
doesn't know
things
he
in New York.
exists because everyone forgot him.
Yeah.
No, they forgot that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. They didn't forget
No,
Spider-Man.
No,
I
they
don't think
forgot
that's what the spell was.
Completely.
They forgot Peter Parker
They forgot
existed.
Peter Parker existed. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh
Just
no,
a dude
but
now.
Spider-Man still exists. That's what I'm saying.
Spider-Man. She
Yeah.
could
No,
seek
that's what I'm
out.
talking about. I'm talking
Right.
about like Spider-Man. Like
Yeah.
I feel like she could still go to Spider-Man. I'm not saying
Yeah,
like
but how do you
she
Yeah,
wouldn't
find
know who he
Spider-Man?
is.
Mhm.
But honestly, I would still think that maybe Fury eventually does know who the Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Like, I'm just saying, like, even if they forgot, they would just be this, they would see this Spider-Man just around
Well,
New York.
So
And Shield wouldn't look into it, or Storm would, Sword would
the whole
look into
idea
it, like,
that
you know.
computers don't exist because that spell was cast is a little ridiculous. There's a file somewhere with Peter's picture and his name. He still has a license. Like it wouldn't have erased the databases, right? It would have just been people's memories.
Oh, maybe.
Honestly, I
Well,
think it's
it's
people's
all-
memories. I think it's
it's
people's
all
memories because
existence
how would
of
he get
Peter
an
Parker.
apartment?
It's
How would he
like-
get an
yeah.
apartment?
He has
Right.
to still exist on some
He still, I
legal
think he
level.
still exists.
Well,
I think
yeah.
he exists on paper. I don't think he exists in people's minds until they.
Right.
It
eventually
basically
lose
means
him.
anybody who loved him doesn't
So,
get to
yeah.
see him anymore. It's really what it boils down to.
Exactly.
Right.
I mean, but everybody that kind of loved him, like, dang, shout out to May. I'm sorry, I'm still hurt about that.
Oh,
I know.
I'm still
Yeah.
hurt about that. Because the Green
but
Goblin should have went down, but you know we healed him and stuff. But it's cool,
Mhm.
you know, whatever.
I did want to say I did like that, like
Who
Carol
wouldn't
and
have
Monica, or even like Fury. They're all like supportive of
Yeah.
Kamala, though. They're not like, because it could have easily been like, oh yeah, she's annoying kind of thing, and like all
Right.
the fanboys would be like, yeah, see, she is.
See?
But like the whole movie, they're all support. Yeah, like they're
Yeah.
supportive. Like a lot of the
Yeah.
But
times,
they also
like,
protect her too. Like I like
Yeah.
that they protect her, but they also
Mhm.
don't shield her. They don't shield her from. I'm sorry, I never get these puns. I never get
I
these. So
know.
like when I
Yeah,
do,
Brian
it's
had one
We're all
great.
earlier.
doing them today.
It works out so well.
Yeah.
It just came up naturally, man. I just enjoyed that.
Yeah.
But like they protect her, but they don't shield her from like what's going on either, right? So
Mhm.
they
Right,
protect her because yes, she's younger, she's new to this, but they're also like she's quite powerful as well.
Mhm.
So
Well,
we're
when you
gonna let
drop
you,
her in the
like, spread them
sky,
wings too.
And make it so she has to figure out how to
Oh my God.
land. I'd say
Yeah.
Yeah.
she's
One of the best
bigger,
scenes of the whole movie is when it lands and it's Carol and Fury was like, "Oh, it's
oh
just
yeah,
Carol."
dude.
Yeah.
Like it's no big
Oh,
deal.
we're good.
No, it's just Carol.
Yeah. Oh, never mind.
I was like,
Like she
Samuel
didn't just
Jackson
fall
just
off
came and had
nowhere.
fun on this set. He just had a
Oh,
great
yeah.
time and just
Yeah.
moved on. He's like, "Oh,
I
it's just Carol."
love that he will probably be in the MCU until he dies. Like I'm certain he's not going.
I'm cool with
anywhere.
that. I'm
No.
A.
They'll probably call him up and be
that.
like, Sam, we've got it. He's like, yeah, let's go. I'm yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I will say this: if anything happens to Sam Jackson, like 100 years from now, which is fine,
Oh.
you know, 150 maybe years from now, that's fine. If they need to like recast Nick Fury, at this point, just go get John David Washington, put him in an eye patch and
There
a
you
black
go.
coat, and I'm cool with it.
If they recast him, I
I'm
want
cool
them
with
to
it.
do. I want them to go the route of David Hasselhoff, but that's just me. I would.
That's hilarious.
No, he played the original
That's
Fury in the
hilarious.
first movie, so
Yeah, he
Right,
did, but that's
yeah, yeah.
hilarious.
yeah. They could have at least thrown him into
He'll come
like,
in.
Doctor Strange somehow. But
Oh,
yeah, and we didn't even
Maybe
talk
they
about
will.
the other part of the after credits where you get to see
Right.
Maria,
Maria
as
and-
binary.
Credits and
and
post-credits.
She
Beast.
was she was in that binary outfit. I said, "Okay, girl, you look
Man.
Lashana looking good in that outfit."
I didn't
"Okay,
expect to
Lashana,
see,
all
you
right."
know, Kelsey Grammer, but it was
Beast.
nice to see him, and this is likely the final
Mhm.
time we'll
I
ever
don't
see
know
him.
that I love the
reprise Beast.
updated animation for him. I
Yeah.
kind of like
Mm.
the old practical.
makeup?
The
I
blue
just-
suit.
I love. I
But
miss the
Kelsey's old.
practical.
So
Yeah. Yeah. So that'd be hard.
I,
Yeah.
I get it, kind of.
Yeah.
For me personally, and this is maybe nobody agrees with me.
Mhm.
I don't know why they didn't just get Nicholas. Like I
Yeah.
don't know
Right.
why they didn't just get
He's kind of
Nicholas.
busy being a bad guy.
Right?
Kind
Yeah.
of going that
Right.
I
direction.
mean now, but at the time of this movie,
I'm gonna lean in
no.
and say your name
He
one more
wasn't.
time, Ray.
Yeah.
Speaking of which,
Because
It would have made more sense to me, I think.
Right.
I mean, I
Well, I
would still
think
say
'cause
this because it's a different universe. They possibly can somewhere down
Well, I
the
think
line.
that's why they went with Kelsey, because it was that universe.
They're
It
saying
was
that's the
that,
Fox
Yeah.
universe that
like,
she landed in.
right.
I
Yeah.
get it.
So, but
Yeah.
still, yeah. No,
But
I get it.
also,
But not the alternative Fox
older.
universe.
No.
No, just the legacy, the Marvel legacy universe.
It's so
Right.
it's the
Nicholas is
Singer
younger
universe.
version, and, yeah.
It's the Singer universe, and not this. Other
Singer.
Yeah.
I say we
I
rate
like
this
Kelsey
film.
Grammer as Beast. I think he's the best Beast, but
yeah.
I think he's the best Beast during his time. But I will say I enjoyed Nicholas Hoult because we get to see his character development go from like this like wide-eyed nerd to being something he didn't really want to be, to eventually embracing it and becoming who like. So I don't mind Nicholas Hoult.
Yeah.
The only problem I have with the early X-Men is when Xavier does this with his fingers instead of just doing it, and it's like trying to distinguish two parts of Xavier, and I'm like, it's the same character. What are you doing? Patrick Stewart never did that. Why are you trying to put in your own flavor to a character
because
that
he's not the same Professor X,
He
and he
is.
does this in the comics, so they were pulling from the
It's
thing.
the same Professor X. That Professor X from Last Stand is the same Professor X as the one we see in the original.
Right.
X-Men.
Well, maybe he eventually just stops doing it.
He just like somebody was like,
maybe he
hey,
that was the thing. It was like,
Xavier, do you know you keep?
Maybe
And
he's
he's
just,
like,
like,
oh
finally
shit,
not-
I didn't realize that's a tick.
I don't
I
have
should
to
have
do
stopped.
that.
Or maybe that's how he concentrates really hardly.
yeah, when he was early, yeah.
I don't hear the
maybe.
guitar riff unless he does that. Like, he has to do that. If he does it, I can't.
Honestly, my hope for these films now, when we do see Professor X again, I hope he does it every time. Just for you, Smitty.
You're so funny.
I hope he does both fingers too.
Let's
Yeah,
go ahead and rate
exactly.
this film, and then I have
And
a
then a third
weird
hand comes up.
last question
Yeah.
that has nothing to do with.
I love a
Marvel,
weird question.
So, well, not weird,
But I
but
love
it's
a
not a
weird
Marvel question.
It's weird. Go ahead.
Let's start with Ray. What did you think of the Marvel?
I'm gonna give it like a 9.25.
Whoa.
I love it.
9 and a
Yeah,
quarter.
I
Hey.
really loved it.
All right. How about you, Brian?
At 8.5.
8.5.
I think it's on par with the first one.
I'm gonna give it an 8. I gave it a 4 on Letterboxd. I give it an 8 here. Same thing. Tyler?
Nice.
I'm gonna give it a 9.1.
For those of you that are listening to the podcast, Tyler put his fingers up.
Could not. I put my finger to my forehead.
Yeah.
And to all
Forgot
of
it's
you
an
listening
audio
to the
medium.
podcast,
Yeah, you
come
gotta
watch
say,
it on YouTube as well, so
finger
you can see
forehead.
Tyler do
Right.
that as well.
Absolutely. It's more fun if
yes,
you're
yes.
watching.
Especially when you watch him mute his mic. It's pretty great. It's like whack-a-mole.
Yes, it's very. Yeah.
Gotta love
It's like a kid trying to go into the pot and get some food. It's like stop.
Like no whammy, no whammy, no whammy, no whammy.
Pretty quick with it.
No, like I love that show. By the way,
Oh yeah.
Pressure Luck is the name of that show. That game
Oh
show.
yeah.
Press your luck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Laura. What do you rate the Marvel?
The Marvels for me gets a solid 9. It gets a solid 9.
This is one of the higher rated films
I
we've
want
done
more.
on the Real
I want
Study.
more. This is this is where the MCU should be like, okay, this was better than what we thought it was going to be. Let's ignore the fanboys and do more of
Please
this.
God, ignore them forever.
Because yeah, like Ty said, they took everything, every element from the TV shows and wove them into this film very nicely. I don't see nothing wrong with it. I really don't. I don't see anything wrong with it. It was fun. Honestly, it was like, I don't want to say this, but I'm gonna say it just for like context. It was like a female like Guardians 1, where it was like new and refreshing, and the music and the it gave like that feel. It gave like this is the true like
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It's like the true
Just
reboot
off the
of
wall.
like the MCU needed or something. So
Yeah, no, I agree. It is weird that this movie did not make any money. And even here's the other part: as soon as it hit Disney Plus,
It's
it
not
dropped
weird.
to
It's
$12.99 on Vudu, like within a week and a half, 2 weeks of coming. And I was
Wow.
like, that is really fast for a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
But it did.
Yeah.
So, but I bought it to make sure to, try to support it.
come on, you bought it?
Here's the
I bought
question.
Disney Plus, so like that's all I could do for right now.
I do that too. So here's the question. I have first a statement, then the question. I have been completely done with DC, pretty much everything, for like 7 years, since Aquaman, since the sniffing of the armpit. I've been off the DC train. But watching who they've picked for Lois Lane, for Clark Kent, and now for Supergirl, holy shit, am I excited. And then, of course, we just got to see the first reveal of the cast for Superman Legacy.
Yeah.
And am I the only one that's actually re-excited for DC and hoping James
I've been
Gunn
excited.
is going to do this?
Oh yeah, I've been excited too. Yeah.
Okay.
I've been excited.
I haven't seen the like announcements for this or anything like that, so I'm kind of not super invested.
Okay.
And I hate to go, but I have to run.
No, please. Bye, Ray.
Oh,
Have
yeah.
fun.
See you, Ray.
Bye.
How about you, Tyler? You excited about
I wish Ray didn't go because I'm also kind of on board with how I just have not been keeping up with it.
DC? I can tell you they've released some fan photos of like trying to put these actors in the place, and as soon as I saw these actors as Clark Kent and Supergirl together, I actually got goosebumps, and I haven't gotten goosebumps over a superhero movie in a while, since the Endgame era. Not goosebumps, not getting excited. Like I like the movies and I enjoy them as I see them, but nothing has like made me go, "Holy shit, I can't wait for this movie." And this one,
Right?
Yeah.
I will say I'm not like worried because I know like if James Gunn and all of them are like at the helm of it, it's like it's not gonna dip below a certain quality. Like even if it's like not the greatest, it won't go below a certain like. It'll be fine.
Well, I knew when Man of Steel came out, and a lot of people hate that I hate Man of Steel, and Law and I can go rounds about this, but it's more. There we go. It's more that they took the whole of DC and went, let's give everybody the Batman effect of just being dark and gritty. And I hated that because there was always this like two sides to the DC coin where you had Batman, which was extremely dark, his whole universe, everything. And then Superman brought light to the universe and was always good no matter what. So the idea that they like skulls and all this darkness, and then the entire Zack Snyder series just dips off the end with just darkness and it's just I don't know. I'm excited because I know Superman Legacy is going to be hopeful. It's going to be bright. It's going to be the Superman that we remember from Christopher Reeve's era, but brought to our modern time. And that's, I think, why I'm excited. But I digress. Law hates that I hate Man of Steel.
Yep. No, because here's the thing. I love Man of Steel. It's one of the.
I love Man of Steel. So
I mean, I love Man of Steel. It's one of those films where I feel like it showed the human side of Superman / Clark Kent that we only get to see like the bumbling goofy side of, you know what I mean, of him being a human, like his look of what we look like, and instead of we get to see what he looks like. And I really feel like if they would have been very smart and maybe created a Man of Steel 2, we would have seen him become that hope. But they just rushed everything and we didn't get to see that.
Yeah.
I like the fact that he was a little bit dark. I like the fact that at first I didn't like the fact that he killed
Zod.
Michael Shannon Zod. Thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't like the fact that he killed Zod, but then really thinking about it, this is essentially an origin story, and he's not really Superman right now. It made sense that like you would have to kill somebody to say you not gonna kill somebody. Like I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, in his standpoint, I'm not saying me. Like
sure.
I gotta murder somebody first to be like, I'll never kill a person. No,
bam! Oh shit! I don't want to do that anymore. Yeah.
Oh snap! I'll never do that again. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying for the Superman.
One of those different
circumstances.
Like,
that was
exactly.
Going on
like,
too. So, like
it was like he,
you know,
if he didn't do it, I mean, what is he? I mean,
right?
You know what I mean? Like, what is he gonna
But I also
do?
feel like it has to come from somewhere, right?
Right.
Like Batman doesn't use guns.
It couldn't come
for
from
a
principles,
reason,
though.
right?
Like I always thought Superman was taught the principles by his parents. And this is I think this is my biggest problem with this movie is that the one thing, like Jonathan Kent teaches him things, but he teaches him very wishy-washy in this movie. And then the one thing that teaches me about Superman having to understand humans is watching a human die and he can't do anything about it. And they tried to recreate that by having Jonathan put his hand up and stop him from saving him from a tornado. I'm sorry, Superman can save you from a tornado. He can't save you from having a heart attack. So the fact that they changed that fundamentally really kind of didn't give the character the understanding of what it's like to live with these finite humans. It drives me nuts, and it's something that made the film. I was just like, really, he's gonna.
I don't know. I don't know. I enjoy.
He couldn't just fly over there before anybody saw. I don't know.
No, because
but the heart attack.
Like
you got to agree that the heart attack is the thing.
No, I agree.
That
but
makes
I feel like
it
the
so
heart
he
attack
can't
is
stop somebody from dying. Like that
right,
is
but I feel like the heart
learn
attack is.
But it's like they don't want to just rehash the same thing either.
Yeah, like I feel like they could easily put that in somebody else. My standpoint of that scene is the fact that like I feel like Jonathan, for the most part, in every iteration of Jonathan, honestly, sees the future. Okay, every iteration sees the future. They know who they know who he's going to become. They know that they have to like protect him and do certain things in a certain way. Is somehow he's as supernatural as his adoptive son. But I would say that like to me, that scene shows Clark that he can't save everybody. But it also was his father's like chance to save him the only way he could, because if that Clark got exposed in that moment, he wouldn't be the same. Like his father knew he wouldn't be the same.
He's faster than like as fast as light. He could have gotten over there and back and saved the dog and a car.
I will fight you on that.
But it's still so close that you wouldn't see.
That's why the Flash beats him, because the Flash is faster than light.
No, I know, but again, if we're talking about splitting hairs about 186,000 miles per second. So let's say he's 185.99. So he's not as fast as light. He's one.
But you can still see him.
I don't think you'd see him. I think you'd see a blur of some kind, but I don't think you'd know what it was. Like I think you would not have seen him, and that's what frustrates me.
I understand it. I won't agree with it, but I understand it because that's like your standpoint. That's how you feel about it, and I respect that.
No, and I'm not trying to say you guys are wrong either.
He's showing like he has to sacrifice. Like sometimes you have to like sacrifice yourself for a greater purpose, and that's what
like bigger than yourself, and that's a lesson he learns.
He's like, I have to sacrifice myself for my son's future.
And I just don't. What did his dying really sacrifice though? Like he died because he.
What I just said.
No, but I don't. But I don't see like his son's future. I don't see the connection between him dying in a tornado.
Because he learns that sometimes, like, I'm gonna have to make this like an ultimate sacrifice at some point. I need to like. That's what he's learning. Is that like?
I feel like if his daddy didn't die in that,
so you're
he would have died in Batman versus.
Yeah. So this could be why I hate it. You're saying the tornado scene directly ties to the Zod scene in that sense. Like literally, that's the foreshadowing of that decision he makes to prevent. Like the bad, he has to make the bad decision with killing.
Yeah,
Zod
he has to make the bad decision.
Saving people.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
He can't
had to
save
make the bad
everybody.
decision of letting his dad die because he couldn't.
He can't save everybody.
Yeah,
I hate done this movie on the show yet.
I hate it more now.
But also, I feel like
and you're not a Superman fan.
But also,
I'm an old. No. If you're a Superman fan, you're gonna like it regardless. I'm sorry.
Don't agree.
I'm a Superman fan. I've liked Superman Returns.
I'm a Superman fan too.
I love Returns.
I love.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
I love them all.
I love it. I love Superman.
I'm right there with Brian. I loved every iteration of Superman because they're all different. Yeah. They all tell a different story. To me, Man of Steel is the reason why it's not called like Superman, because right now he's just a Man of Steel, and he like at that point in his time, even though Henry Cavill looked 50. 45, in that tornado scene. I'm assuming he was.
He really did. He looked old.
He looked 45 in that scene. Yeah, I'm assuming his character is supposed to be like maybe early 20s or something like that.
Right.
Like
yeah.
Just about to go off to college age.
Just about to go off to college. He's probably still. I'm not gonna say he because his powers come in like in levels when he's a kid, right? His powers don't kick in
this
until
version,
he's like
yes.
a certain age. In this version, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about comics because that can go a whole different way. But like in this version, his powers kick in like maybe like middle school. So there's still stuff that he's like learning and trying to figure out. And maybe speed is one of them. Maybe that's something that he's still trying to learn and figure out. They don't give us much about that, which is okay. It's fine. You kind of know what Clark's powers are going to be eventually. But my thing is this: Jonathan Kent had to die. I'm happy he died, like sacrificing himself for his son. The heart attack is classic Jonathan Kent dying because it happened in Smallville as well. Like that's just like classic, like Jonathan Kent.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
In this one, they were going for something a little bit different. I wasn't mad at that, just like I wasn't mad at him killing Zod, because what other alternative did you have to kill somebody he does not have the technology. He does not know the ways of Kryptonians. The only thing he could do in that moment to protect these innocent people was to kill a man that's at this point is just as strong as he is.
Right.
If Superman can't be put down without maybe another Superman putting him down, Zod couldn't be put down by anybody else other than Superman. And there's nobody to put him back in the Phantom Zone. There's nobody can even tell Clark about the Phantom Zone right now because he doesn't have any of this information. And it's not until he later goes back to that ship and starts getting that information.
There's another
that he's
side to
starting
this.
Figure out who he is.
There's one extra side to that. You say there's nothing else he could do, and that's not true. He could have flown him out of there and maybe tried to fly him into the sun or taken him to another galaxy or done anything other than
does
kill.
the sun kill Superman?
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying he doesn't know.
Superman?
I'm not saying he would know, but I'm saying he could have tried, but he didn't try. He fought him for a little while, destroying Metropolis, and then was like, he's gonna kill them because he's turning his head instead of just taking him out of there. Like he could have done.
He tried to talk to him.
Well,
he tried to show him that there's a better way. He tried to do these things, and all Zod cared about was terraforming
the whole time
Earth
they
to make it
fought
Kryptonian.
doing the same
He
shit.
does not. He's not gonna listen.
I didn't say listen. I said get him out of there. I'm not trying to say talk to the guy, reason with him. I'm saying take him somewhere else, off Earth.
Kill Zod. Kill Zod.
I don't know.
But if you take him off Earth, you're putting another planet in danger to save another planet. He's just gonna come back, snap his neck, kill him, get him out of here, and
not very
be like,
Superman-y.
you know what?
It's
and
weird.
then no, because he's not Superman.
I know. I heard your argument. I'm very firm on my stance about this.
No, that's fine. We're all very firm in our stance.
I love it. We're very firm on it. I love it.
We're all very firm in our stances. Right. But I'm just messing with you because for me, I loved Man of Steel. I love a different look as Superman.
Oh, the suit was dope. There's some great moments
because we see in like the Injustice comics and even in the movie that like when he loses hope, he's a dangerous man. Right. And so to see him kind of hopeless throughout this, kind of figuring out his way, learning, figuring out things to eventually try to become who both his fathers knew he would become, to me, that's an interesting dynamic to Superman that we don't get to see.
Yeah.
We get to see him be human, and I wish we could have seen it, but in my brain, we see him be human and see him become the hope. You can only become, because it's kind of like Christ in a sense, right? Christ had to be like a child, had to come down, had to be birthed to realize like, oh, this is what's happening on Earth. So let me try to fix things. And Clark couldn't be Superman if he didn't know what people went through, if he didn't live some type of life.
That's my other problem with the film. Is there's this whole like Christ motif that does not need to be there.
He's like space Jesus. Like,
he really is. But and even like have him like in moments where he's like, you know, there's a bit of like it's a little heavy-handed.
I feel like in this day and age, people will probably equate that to being some type of a god or a god.
Sure. And I'm not saying
to me that made sense to
me. That there aren't parallels between those things. It's just there's no need to make it so overt. And not only that, but he was a character created by two Jewish men. So I'm like, this is a little odd that he's now becoming this Christian motif. It's a little strange.
Not really, because they kind of, if you think about it, they kind of brought in that motif. Honestly, like this film kind of like maybe zhuzhed it up. But if you really think about it, like a baby or like an entity being sent down to Earth, you know, Mary getting pregnant by something that you didn't think was real or
those are his
existed,
adopted I don't know. I'm not saying there aren't parallels, but I don't think that they were that overt ever until this movie. Then they were like, Snyder was like, yeah, he's a Jesus like character, and he like drove that home, which is fine.
They did very similar things in Superman Returns.
I agree, but it's still Singer trying to. I don't know. I feel like that's the director putting their own preferences or concepts into the film, which is part of filmmaking.
I'm gonna make a Superman movie in the future.
Like, why wouldn't?
I'm calling it now.
Sir.
I just personally,
I'll give you a call.
I like the character away from that. I don't need that motif for him to be a godlike character. He doesn't need to be Jesus. He can be Superman, and it's still both can be good and live in this. You could have Jesus in Superman's world, like all of that's fine. It's just
Superman's world. That's Jesus' world. What are we talking
I still haven't seen the other Superman movies.
The what?
I haven't seen Superman. Like the old ones.
You haven't seen the Christopher Reeve?
Christopher Reeves.
Any of them?
I've seen a lot of clips. I've seen a lot of clips.
I'm
I've never actually seen
a lot of clips.
Ryan, haven't we been looking for a reason to review Superman on the show? We've been looking for a reason.
Yeah.
Now we have.
But I love Batman versus Superman. That's my favorite out of the Zack Snyder.
Do I get?
I knew he was lying because he couldn't even get that out. I was waiting for the laugh the whole time. I'm waiting for I'm waiting for it.
He's not serious.
I do want to say thank you to Muncie and Janine for staying around for our tirade about other movies. Technically, the real study's over. We've already rated the second movie, but
it's over. There's no more.
No, not. Oh, don't say that.
Guys, this is the
I agree with Janine.
Yeah,
I agree with Janine. That's another aspect of the whole Zod thing. I really don't think that Superman or Clark at that point, Man of Steel, whatever you want to call him, I don't think he really wanted to kill Zod, because think about it, that's the first Kryptonian a person or like him, an advanced person like him, you wouldn't want to kill him.
Oh yeah, it's true. It'd be like if you're a Bigfoot and you're like, look, another Bigfoot, let me kill you.
No, for sure. And those laser eyes came very close to killing those people because he was really thinking about it.
Yeah, but Muncie made a point. He could have covered his eyes just to see what would have happened. He could have.
I feel like it would have.
I know we didn't need another half hour of the movie, but
still,
they could have done a few.
I felt like that would have still killed Zod because to me that's just pushing the beam back in his face. I feel like it still would have killed him.
Then it would have been his own fault. I would have had a better time
with his head.
It's just, I guess to me, it's this aggressive, like, I'm Superman, snap. I don't know. It'd be one thing if he covered his eyes and then it kills him because he's trying to protect them.
But then he has immediate remorse over it, though, too.
Like, I know.
Yeah,
the scream.
It wasn't like he was like, yes! You're dead.
I know that. But that scream,
Superman, bitch,
it was almost like I had no choice. Kill, scream. I don't know. Like, because if there was literally no other choice, if he had already taken him off planet, he already covered his eyes, he had already done all the things he had done, and I had seen it, I might have been like, damn. But that's not what happened.
I just feel like
they get there and he's like, I'm killing these people. Snap.
I just feel like there's no choice because what if it was like the opposite and you need to do something with Superman? How would you put down Superman without killing Superman?
Well, if I'm Superman, it's like fighting a regular person. So
But that's what that fight was. It was two supermen fighting each other. How would you put down Superman? If you didn't know about kryptonite, if you didn't know about, you don't have any technology, how would you
take him to the other side of the moon and put him in the moon like they did in 4?
That didn't work either.
I know. Kidding. It's terrible. But I'm trying to, I don't know. I'm trying to be light about this because it is something I get into arguments about all the time. This is something like you guys think I'm like about. No, I know. This. And I'm trying to keep it that way as well. But if you guys think I'm like this about Man of Steel, there are other movie topics I will never bring up because it will get far more.
Why not? Let's talk about it.
One, it's the wrong time of year. It's the wrong time of year for
one. Oh, like Die Hard being a Christmas movie? Like
we're not getting into that.
Because it is.
We're not getting into that. I'm not getting into that.
But I love conversations like this. Like
I agree.
Love conversations
we
like
can
this.
plan ahead
we don't
to
have to agree.
No, we don't.
We don't have to agree at all, and that's fine. But I just want you to hear my piece on it because it makes sense to me.
No, no, I now know how passionate Brian is about Superman. When I thought before I knew, but now I know how passionate he is.
I will say this. Let me just say this real quick into the mic.
Real close,
I used to like Bri. I used to like him. Thought he was a great guy. Drinks great drinks. Wears nice clothes. But since this moment, I think I love him a little bit. I think he jumped up a notch because the way he feels about Superman is the same way I feel about Supes. And I love you, Bri. It actually makes me tear up a little bit. I want to cry, but I won't do it on camera.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I get.
Oh my God! And you're talking to me smooth too.
You and I.
Man of Steel sucks. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Listen. Me and Bri are right here, man.
We're right here.
We're right here. I love it.
Right here, man. I'm gonna do everything I can do just to annoy Smitty.
Now I'm thinking scanners.
He's like, I could hear you.
Oh, not scanners, bro.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he could have scanners him. That would have been dope. Like, yeah.
Why didn't he freeze his?
Yeah.
I'm not even. We're gonna stop.
You know what would be cool if he does this, and we get to see what it looks like in his brain when he's reading minds. I would like to see that image.
I want to see like the inside of a dome with like 2 fingers pressing in. That's what I want to see.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I want to see that because I want to see I honestly want to see what his brain, because his brain is like the most powerful weapon, like a weapon of mass destruction is what they called it in like Logan, I think, or something like that. And
he's a level 5.
I would love to see.
He's
I would love to see because they don't use his abilities enough in these films.
No, I know. This is why
like a minuscule
Scarlet Witch killing him in his own mind really pissed me off. I was like, what? Like, you're powerful, but you're in his mind.
Honestly,
you're powerful. Like, no.
Honestly, for me, I was annoyed with that. I'm still kind of annoyed with that, but also I gave it a pass because he wasn't on the defensive. She was. And I think that's the only difference. I feel like that's the only difference. I felt like he went in there with care to protect her, to kind of like get the real, one out. And she went in there balls to the walls, ready to. And I don't think even though he's a genius, he's smart and all kind of stuff, I just think because his defenses were just a little bit lowered, that's how she got the drop on him. But you know, he ain't dead obviously, because the professor wanted to know how about Maria's progress. So she just knocked him out for a little bit. She just knocked him out for a little bit, and he came to. Like, oh dang.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway,
Shucks.
at this point, we should end this evening's broadcast.
Oh yeah.
I probably have
Thanks for
dinner
hanging
waiting
in
for
with
me at
us,
this
guys.
point. And Tyler's just listen to us just go off about Man of Steel.
I'm excited to watch Superman now. Like after hearing all of that. Like, I
Oh
don't know.
yeah.
It's like-
Do it.
We're gonna
To be
review it, and
honest,
we're
like-
gonna compare it, and we're gonna Anyway, all right. This has been episode 15 of season 3 of The Real Study. We appreciate you guys sticking around with us. And Law has one more thing.
Before you guys go, make sure you follow us on all social media. Come and join us on the Discord. Become a real student. You can submit a TV show or a movie for us to watch. I can't wait till we start watching TV shows and just like it's just every Sunday it's like episode 2, episode 3. I just can't wait for that to happen. But as always, follow us on all social media. Join in on the conversation and let's have a real good time.
Night all.
Have a marvelous
guys.
night.
Marvelous.
You can watch us ramble on and on the next episode.